It has. It's been a busy week this week, Nixon. I've got a lot to do before we stream later as well, but at least I've got a few hours to set things up. What? They're here now? Oh, hello, welcome to today's stream. And today I'm going to edit my animation to show the progression of it to build a YouTube short. So do stick around for that. You didn't say it was 3 o'clock already. Come on, let's get ready. Hello friends, welcome to today's Sunday Tea Time live stream, live from Robin Hood country here in Nottingham, England. Good to have you all here, hope you're all doing well. As always, do come say hello in the chat, let me know who's here today. We've got a few early birds already come into the chat, we'll do a name check in a second. But first, if you are new to these streams, welcome. My name is Darren and I stream every weekend here on the channel. I stream on YouTube and on Twitch, and streams are recorded later for you to catch up with later on YouTube, to just watch the parts that you've missed or to rewatch the parts to see exactly what I did and the features that I used. And these streams are a chance for me to work on some drawing or animation in OpenToonz or Tahoma, and for you to watch along and ask questions about what I'm doing or about the programs themselves. And also for you to use this time to work on your drawings and animations. So to not miss each stream, subscribe and hit the bell to be notified by the next stream. And I'm not sure if I'm streaming next Sunday or not, and the Sunday after. So this is really useful to do to be notified of when I'm back. And there's lots of ways you can support the channel, listed down in the description, with the easiest being just to hit the like button and to comment on the video once it's over and on YouTube. And to give it a share wherever you hang out. You can also join my tea service on Patreon and watch my tutorials before they're released on YouTube, to download the projects that I show in my tutorials so you can dig deeper into what I did, and to watch real-time videos showing my process where I'd normally skip through them in a tutorial, and to watch behind-the-scenes content and much, much more. Or if you've got the means, you can buy me a coffee or a Darren Tea. But I've plenty of free content here on YouTube, so after the stream, why not take a look around the channel and see what you can find. And there's a little bit more on that shortly. But it's great to have you with me today, so welcome to the stream. So what are we going to do today? Well, I finished my little monster animation last week and I'm really happy with how it came out, but I don't think I can release it as a video as it is now on YouTube, as it's only about 8 seconds or so long. And I could repeat it a few times, which is a little bit boring, and I did something a bit different with my previous YouTube short, and I'll show you that again later on. So I plan to do something a little bit similar today. So I'm going to edit the previous stream videos to try and create a more interesting and palatable video for a YouTube short. So I'm doing something a little bit different today. I've not had as much time as I'd like to prepare, so I'm not sure how it's going to go, but we'll get started on that today and you'll see how far we get with that. But as always, let's first check the chat, see who's in today. I saw that Tom was here nice and early. Hello Tom, welcome to the stream. Good to have you here again. Dave, if you're still here, hello, welcome. Thank you for the shouts out again earlier on your channel, always appreciated. And I'll be catching up with that stream a little bit later on to see what you did with your animation there. Quadimon, hello, welcome. Good to have you back again. You're starting to become a bit of a regular here, which is good to see. Adyan, good to have you. Kozo, hello, welcome. Good to have you back again. If you want to call me Q, feel free, not a problem. Maria, hello, welcome, good to have you here. And I loved your little animation, by the way, and we'll see a bit more of that later on in the kitchen. I've shared it over there. I know, Tom, I realised, a little bit green around the gills. I tried messing with this early this morning to get the lighting right on the camera here, and I think it's basically a reflection from the green screen, and I've changed the lights around a little bit, moved things around, but it's still squeezing through and making me a bit green. it's something I think we're going to have to live with for a while until I get some newer, neater lights. But for now, it's not too bad. It's something I can live with myself. Yeah, no problem, Ajan. Good to have you with us this week. Lakes today, outside right now. Oh, you're in Poland. Hello, welcome. Welcome from Poland. Hope things are going okay for you over there. I bet you can. Yeah. Are you close to the border of Ukraine over there? I know that's quite close. Things are a little bit hairy, as we talked about last week on the stream. I hope you're keeping safe and things continue to stay that way for you. Kozo, yes. Maybe she is. I've tried to persuade her to come in and do a little bit more of the technical stuff on these streams. In that case, she would be Q, or as you say, QT. She is a little cutie, so that's fair enough. It's that Welshman. It has been a while. Welcome back. Good to have you back with us again. Yeah, it has been a little while, so great to have you here. And say we're doing something a bit different today, so we'll see how that goes. As I say, I'm not sure if I'm streaming next Sunday or the Sunday after, because I'm away for a week between those two Sundays. So do watch out on Discord, Twitter, all the usual places for me to let you know when I'm next streaming. And today is the last day of this project. So I need to have a think about which project I'm going to work on next on the streams. And also to mention that after watching a stream from Animator Island, Ferdinand, he reviewed and scored entries into the 11-second club last week, during the week. And after seeing that again, it got me excited to join in. So I do definitely want to join into the 11-second club competition in a month or two. So that'll be April or May. And I'll be drawing my entry for that probably live on these streams on a Sunday, and maybe you'd like to join me in that too. So that's something to watch out for. In a few weeks' time, I'll figure out the timescale for that. And as always with the 11-second club, it depends on the prompt. Some of the prompts are really interesting, that when you first hear them, an idea comes to mind of, you know exactly what you want to do. Others are a little bit trickier and kind of a little bit more, don't say boring so much, but there's less of an exciting idea comes to mind, so I wouldn't want to enter those. So it depends on the prompts. We'll take a look at that and do those in a few weeks, I'm fairly sure. Lakes today, wow, okay. Yep, okay, well I'm glad things are okay for you there. Do keep us informed of anything you want to share about things that are going on in the area. I know everybody, not just in this country but across the world, are interested in, intrigued into what's happening and trying to help out where possible. So hopefully things will go a little bit more in the right direction soon, but we'll see how that goes. But as I say, keep yourself safe. Amar, hello Amar, welcome. Glad you could join us again today. Absolutely, Maria. Absolutely, we are. Yeah, so the Animator Island 11-second club will be a month-long project. So 3 or 4 weeks on the streams we'll be working on that. But I'll have a couple of weeks before that and possibly after that. So I'm not sure if I want to jump into another large project. So I might just run through some simple drawing or animation exercises on the stream again. Happy for you to follow along. That'd be pretty good to see what you can do and to work along together on them. So again, I'll mention that as I get to the stream. So that'll be possibly next Sunday or after my holiday. I'm not entirely sure. %, Tom. Absolutely it is. I wish we were taking more here, to be honest. It's a little bit embarrassing to see some of what we've been offering to the crisis. But as an individuals, hopefully we're offering enough. I know there's lots of collections and people donating and trying to help out for the refugees, but we'll see how that goes in the coming weeks. yeah, we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed. It's a crazy, crazy situation. Yeah, sorry. I'm just reading through the chats coming down here. Yeah, I've had a really absolutely manic week this week. Been so busy with lots of things we'll go through in a second. But I did manage to squeeze in between watching some Cuphead cartoons this week, just to bring things down a little bit lighter than the chat we've been having. I've watched, I think, about 4 episodes, which I'm really loving. I think it's like a return of an old-fashioned style cartoon. Really enjoyed that. Don't know if any of you have been watching that or not. Encanto update. I've still not watched that. That could be in a few weeks possibly when I get round to that. So I'll get to that at some point, I'm sure. Pradeep, hello, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you here again. Welcome back. So we've got quite a few of you here so far. So if you jump straight into the next section to see what happened last week. What happened last week? So this section is a chance for me to let you know about any OpenToons or animation news that I've heard about since we last streamed, for me to share any news about what you've been working on, and for me to share details about what I've been working on. So let's bring down the screen before we start. You finished the Cuphead series already, Amar? I don't know how many episodes it is, but they're really bite-sized to get into them. So I've been watching them in between, like at lunch times and things. Yeah, there really is, Tom. It's difficult to get through everything as we try to, especially with we're working on the channel here, trying to fit in lots of things. March the 6th. No, I didn't know that. Yeah, Encanto we'll definitely get to. So, okay, let's first take a look at what I did last week. Alrighty, so first, let's take a look at last Friday's video that I shared, which was about the toolbar in OpenToons and Tahoma 2D. And it's about how to add a toolbar with your favourite commands on it, how to customise those commands to have your favourites shown, and how to add, edit and move them around on the 2 different toolbars there are, the timeline toolbar and the command bar that you can place anywhere. And again, this was another time saver video, particularly for those that use tablets who don't like to remember keyboard shortcuts or look through menus to find the commands. Drop them on the toolbar, makes it just so handy to tap it with your stylus as you're drawing. So again, as a time saver, I think that video is well worth a watch. And my next week's video, this is a video that's already out for my T-Mogs and T-Pots on Patreon to take a look at, but it's out this coming Friday. And it's the 4 easy steps for creating auto in-between style animations in OpenToons and Tahoma 2D. And it followed on from my previous video last week where I created a flamingo bouncing animation to have the flamingo moving around. And I wanted to show how to use the auto in-between tool to help create this kind of a short loop. And it's quite a similar sort of style to how you get in Cuphead for that constant movement action. So I want to show the 4 steps that I always go through when using this tool to make it really clear, make it a simple process rather than being confused by it. Because I keep seeing users getting confused with how to do it and not quite getting the results they expected. So I've already made a longer video about the auto in-between tool, but I wanted to break it down into 4 distinct steps to make it easy to follow and easy to remember. It's the Joker from India. Hello Joker, welcome. Good to have you with us today. So what else have I done this week? Let me open this up here. It is strange here. I've no idea what the point of them is, to be honest. So the first thing I did that I want to mention this week was I reorganised my YouTube channel homepage to make it easier to find the things that you want. So I've got my handy links at the top. I placed those into the header at the top right there, you can see. And I made changes to the list of playlists shown on this page. So the first video you get is about the introduction to OpenTunes 1.5. There's 1.6 around the corner. That'll change, no doubt. But it's a playlist I really wanted to change to make the first playlist a list of useful videos for new viewers. So I created a Getting Started playlist for OpenTunes and Tahoma, starting with my introductions for the two programs and setting up FFmpeg. Then there's my 4 stages of working with OpenTunes to create an animation. And then the common features people ask about are the auto-in-betweening, which is that video there, cutout animation, how to create cutout animation, hand-in-betweening, and then a few videos about changing the layout of the programs, importing images, and audio is in there as well. So it's an overall getting started kind of introduction set of videos of a place to begin. And I changed the playlists that are shown after that to try and create the common playlist I think people would need. So firstly, you've got my main uploads playlist, which is the recent videos. The playlist about the cutout animation videos, the series of videos I made for that. Videos about lip syncing. The auto-in-betweening, which this next week's video will add into as well. And then a general OpenTunes tutorials, which is all of my tutorial videos, about, 50 or 60 of them all together. And I've removed a few playlists, including the livestream playlist, but all of them are still available at the top of the screen here by clicking playlists. So if you go to that, you can see all of the playlists that I've ever put together, so you can get to the different sections to find the sort of video that you want, including the livestream playlists. Will be in here as well, there at the top right, they're shown for me. So you can get to all the previous live streams, which I think are useful, especially on these series videos, while working on the same animation week after week. So hopefully people will find that a bit easier to get to, because you can always get to the playlist list for any channel, the list of videos, which is shown in order from the latest through to the oldest. But on the homepage, having especially Getting Started section, I hope that'll make it easier for people to find what they need. And I've added a link to the Getting Started playlist on the Discord server as well in the playlists channel. I also made a small change to my Patreon that I've been talking about for the past few weeks. I don't want to hammer it too hard, but just to let you know, I've made a small change to the pricing structure, tiers, to make the jump between the 3 tiers a little bit less of a jump. And I'm also trying to get plenty of content on there to make it worthwhile joining the tiers. So why not take a look at that if you might be interested. There's a link for that down in the description. But that leads me to my next video I wanted to share about on here. And that's this one here. I recorded and edited a video, an unboxing video, where I bought some new lights recently, and I wanted to talk about them, set them up to show you what's in the box, and to explain how I plan to use them, kind of what they're for and what they're about. So again, that's available in the Patreon Teapot tier to take a look at in full as one of the many behind the scenes videos that I want to put together to show the kind of things that I do here on the channel that isn't just about the tutorial videos. And it's the first type of video that I've made like this as an unboxing, and I decided to try something different, which I keep trying to do to push myself, and I recorded this all in one take without a script, which is really unheard of for me. Everything I do on the channel is scripted up to a certain extent. All the tutorials, the videos, even the streams are a little bit scripted, so I know exactly what I'm going to be doing and saying. However, today's working stream today absolutely off the cuff, so we'll see how well that goes. But I enjoyed making this. It was really good, and I think you'll enjoy watching it if you come across that. Also, want to mention for the news this week, there's been more small changes made to OpenTunes in light of version 1.6 coming along in a few weeks' time. But one thing that has been fixed and is slightly still being worked on, here we are, it's a fix to the multi-monitor setup that people have with OpenTunes and Tahoma. So if you're running more than one monitor with different resolutions, and that can be either standard monitors or if you've got a drawing tablet with a screen and a second monitor, if they're different resolutions or different zoom rates, then OpenTunes and Tahoma don't always play nice. So often you'll find that your drawing is offset from your cursor position. So you have to fix that, you have to make both screens either the same resolution, change the main monitor to be the tablet monitor, and there was a third option as well. I think the zoom percentage had to be adjusted. So instead of that, he should have been looking at it to try and fix the issue there, and he's already fixed some parts of it. But if you read down this report, people have been reporting other small bugs that he's now looking into. So hopefully when version 1.6 comes out, the multi-monitor bug will be finally fixed, so it won't be an issue anymore. So I'm going with fingers crossed that that gets fixed before 1.6. Speaking of 1.6, this next release is something that I want to be looking into in this coming week or two. I want to put some notes together to look at what's been added to the 1.6 release since 1.5 over the past year. There's been so many submissions, it's hard to keep track of which features have been added. So I'm going to take a look through all of the submitted PRs to try and figure out which are the most interesting ones that I can include in a video when I announce the release of 1.6. So this next week, I've got quite a bit to look into for that. Cheers. So the last thing I wanted to mention is I'm going to take a break shortly for a few minutes before I continue. But after releasing last week's video, let's just bring this back there so we can see each other. After releasing last week's video, last week's stream, I realised I'd not actually completed one of the items on my list for the animation, and that's to add shadows under my little monster. I'd added the effects, I'd added the background and various things, but I didn't add any shadows under him. And someone pointed it out on the Discord server, which was really appreciated. And I totally forgot. And I didn't want to really bring it into this week's stream and carry on drawing today. I was very keen to move on and try and get to the editing phase. So what I did was I drew the shadows during the week under the character, and I thought about releasing a video showing what I did or showing something today, but really it's too long of a video to release. So what I did, I thought I'd use that as an excuse to again add more content to Patreon. So I've recorded the process last week while I was adding that as a live stream kind of thing, in the same way as I do these streams, where I explained each step of the process as I went through it. And I put this video on Patreon for my patrons to look at, but I've also got a speed paint of that I was going to share with you now while I take a short break, just to show what I did in adding those shadows. So I was going to play that for you right now while I take a short break, stretch my legs before we get into the actual detail of today's work. So let me just pop that on for you. And I'll see you back here in about 5 minutes. See you then. And welcome back. So yeah, that's about an hour long or so video that you'll find on Patreon there that I did earlier this week. So here's the actual animation in Tahoma. Let me hit play on that. This is what we got for the final piece. So I need to just render that out to start working with today. And then we'll get on to doing some editing and see what we can put together for a YouTube short. So if you're interested in seeing anything to do with drawing or animation in OpenToonz or Tahoma, today might not be the day for the stream, so feel free to leave if you want to, and I'll catch you next time. But you can also ask questions about the programs and I'll try and help you out. But today is more about editing and how we can put together something a bit more interesting to work with as a short. We've got little Matilda. Hello there, welcome to the stream, good to have you here. So he came out okay. I'm really happy with this, with how this worked out. You may have noticed, if you look closely, I've not actually added shadows for the arms and legs. That felt like it was going to be too much clutter in the background, moving around and catching your eye. I don't think you really notice it too much though, to be honest. It's only a small part of the total animation. But the hand-drawn shadows, I'm really happy with how they've come out. That little quiver they've got, I used a blur effect on top of them. So yeah, I'm really happy with how that is. So it's taken us quite a few weeks. It's 6 or so weeks working on this animation to get to this stage. So before we go any further, let's render this out. Go to the output settings. Make sure the scaling is set to 1. The shrink value is set to 1 because when I was rendering on early weeks, I'd got the shrink to maybe 2 or 3 to create a smaller animation to share on Discord and Twitter. So make sure that's full size. Let me give it a nice name. We're on MP4. Jump and explode. Yeah. Monster jump and explode. Save and render. So we've got a saved copy of the project so far. Rendered this out, so we've got a video we can use for editing. So I'll let that trundle away. No, Maria, I agree. I think that's right. They would, exactly, Tom. Thank you. Yeah, when I first put this together, as I was working during the week, I was thinking I might want to add some shadows for the arms and legs. I definitely wanted them for the eyes as they bounced around, but the main thing was the body. It just looked so detached from the background that had shadows on the cactus that I had to put something on for him. I don't think I've necessarily put it in the right place either, because the shadows for everything else is kind of at the top left of the screen. The sun is at the top left, so the shadows should go to the right. So I may have got the shadows slightly wrong. I don't think you necessarily notice. It's not a big issue. Again, such a short animation, I think it's fine. So the thing I was thinking about for this YouTube short, I created a YouTube short with my last little monster animation. Let me play that. Is this the one? Yep, monster jump short. Let me double click on that. So this was an animation that I created as a standard wide angle view, and I edited it to fit it into the vertical layout to become a YouTube short. And I didn't want to just play the animation and release that as a single video. I kind of wanted to show the process. So I started off by showing a single image of the sketch, the ink layer, the paint, and then I showed the animation directly afterwards, just to kind of show some progression. And I wanted to do a similar sort of thing with this one, but instead of having a single static image at the start here for the sketch and the ink, I wanted to sort of show me drawing them, or to show the drawing part of them. Not sure how that'll look, so it's a bit of an experiment, so come along with me as we experiment to figure out if this works or not. I was hoping to have some time during the week to try it out and find a couple of clips I could use. I didn't get a chance, so we'll do it all live today. So we'll see how that looks. I was thinking that, Tom. possibly adjusting the shadow to make it be to the right hand side, and that's something I could do later. I've not had time to look into that since drawing them, so I could easily do that, re-render it, and then that would pull itself into the video edit. So it wouldn't be hard to do, to be honest, with a small animation key to move his body shadow to the right and down a little bit, because the shadow, once he explodes of the eyes, I know I did definitely give the offset for that. So I could easily do that. We might even do that later on today, but let's do everything else first. So as you may have noticed on the previous short, I had a header piece of text and a footer piece of text. And this is so if people are just scrolling through the shorts library and they come across the animation, they'll find out that it's been created in Tahoma, which is related to OpenToons, and a little link to say subscribe to find out more about the animation. So I created that overlay as a separate scene in a separate project, so I could use it for other animations. So the first thing I wanted to do was to load that in and meddle with that slightly to fit better with this scale of animation, because the character starts off at the bottom of the screen, and when he jumps he goes almost to the very top, so I can't have any text at the top of the screen, but I left space at the bottom to add some text there. So I was going to have just a black bar at the bottom with that text on it. So I was going to start with the text that was at the top, place that on the bottom, and then partway through the animation change it to the animated version. So let me load that into here first. Here we are. So this was created to be an overlay to go in front of the previous animation, and that was an HD resolution, so 1920 by 1080. So the height was only 1080, so this is quite a smaller overlay for that, whereas the animation I've got now is a vertical format HD, so it's 1080 by 1920. So I need to adjust this height to fix. So the first thing I'll do is I'll save the scene as a different scene. So I'll keep this one as it was in case we want to come back to it and reuse it. And then I'll save the scene under a new name and make those changes. So we'll save this as, we're still in the same project file, project folder, which is my YouTube Shorts wrapper. It's in the scenes folder, so I just need to give it a name. And there's two names I wanted for this. I want to create two scenes. The first one is the subscribe text for the animation for subscribing at the bottom. I'll save that. But first I want the text from the top. So again, I'll do a save as in here, and we'll call this animated with, to be honest, animated with text, and save that. So now there's three scenes in that folder: the original, one for the subscribe at the bottom, and one for the animated with text from the top. So the first thing I want to do for this is to change the camera size in the scene menu, so camera settings. So you can see the settings there, they're quite small. The size is 900 wide by 1600 tall. I want to change this to HD, but the vertical format, so 1080 by 1920. So let's type those in. 1080, 1920. And there's no save or apply button, it just applies it straight away. So I'll close that. Okay, so I need to adjust this. And again, if you have any questions about what I'm doing, do fire them in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on that as I'm working here. So I'm using the selection tool. I'm actually, just for your information, using the mouse today rather than my stylus on the tablet, just because of the editing I'll be doing later. It's a little bit easier for me to use a mouse than the stylus. Either works, but the mouse is fine. We'll see how we get on for working into Tahoma if the mouse works just as well. And I think because I'm adjusting the position of these black bars, I'll do a save as to save again the subscribe scene to make sure the black sections are in the same place. You'll see exactly what I mean shortly. So let's go for this solid edges, which is the black bar here. So we can adjust that by rescaling it slightly larger than the screen. And the background of the screen, I've made this turquoise blue just so that I can tell when the text is white for when that's placed over it, to make sure it's not the background shining through, it's definitely white text in the background there. So let's take this text at the bottom and I'll move it off the screen. Let's take the subscribe and I'll move that off the screen as well. And then we'll move the text down from the top. So again, back in the text column, because this last project was animated into Homer, I want the animated into Homer 2D text down there. Holding Shift, I'll rescale it, which scales it the height and the width. To place it in there. We might need to come back and edit this later to make sure that we fit the monster above it so we don't overlap the monster animation. We can come back and tweak it later, no problem. So that's the Homer 2D text. I also had some text for OpenToon, so I'll keep that to one side so I can reuse that later if I wish. And again, I'll just resize that, just so it's a similar size and we can deal with that properly later if necessary. Let's hit save so we don't lose anything. We don't need the black bar at the top for this particular animation. So that's all I want to have for the footer part there. So as I say, we can always come back and edit this later to make it fit with the animation. So on to render that out for a single frame just to get the text there. So let's go to the output settings. A PNG is fine for a static image. We'll give it a nice name so we recognise it in the outputs directory. And we'll call this animated with Homer, framed 1 to 1. Save and render. Done. Okay. And now we've got the footer in place with the black bar. Let's do a save as again. And we'll overwrite the subscribe scene file. So now the black bar is in exactly the same place. So if we move the text there, place it to the side, and bring up the other text, rescale it, and then see if we can find where the subscribe button's gone, because that's disappeared. In fact, if I already got one of these open, I have. So I've already got an Explorer open to the YouTube Shorts wrapper. Let's look in these folders. So there's the PNG for subscribe. So let's drag that in again. Well, that sounds ominous, Lakes today. What? Something creepy happened yesterday. What would that be? Dare I ask? So that image isn't showing for some reason there. Let me try reloading and see if that helps. No. So I'm not sure why that's disappeared. Let me take a look at the original. No, it's gone from there as well. So let me close down to Homer and restart it. That can often help with these situations. On disk it showed in black as well, so I wonder if somehow it's got erased and written over. I've got the original image. Let me find that and drop it in again. That might help. So it might take a second to find where that is. This is the kind of thing that I thought might happen today because I'm doing things really off-piste to what I normally do. So I'm looking through all my image folders to try and find it. Okay, let's try copying this one over. Replace it. That's looking better. So now if I reload, make sure I'm on the subscribe one. Great, there we go. So I can delete that one I tried to import and then place this in the right place again. So I've got some animation on the subscribe button just to give something visually to look at, and it's kind of just rocking side to side, but I might edit the timing because it was quite slow, quite fast, I remember. So let's use the selection tool again and try and place it in the right place. Not liking that PNG for some reason, but let's continue on anyway. We'll figure that out. Let me try the preview, see how that looks. No, it's not showing. That is quite strange. Let's move the end marker to the actual end of where we want that to be. I will adjust this to try and get it right, because I know that was far too fast before. That's strange, when you play it, it disappears. So again, I'm going to reload that, see if that helps. It often does. Bindu, hello, welcome. There it is, it's been erased again. This feels a little bit like a buggy, but let's continue with that. So if I reload it again, and I might be doing this a few more times today. Okay, let me hit play. That's fine. I think it's me using the selection tool. It's because that's what it is. I've just realised what it is. It's when you import an image, the size of that image is set and is fixed of where the canvas is. And if you use the selection tool and move that image outside of the canvas, it goes invisible. So you've got to use the animate tool to move it. That's what it is. Yeah, no, it's definitely the canvas issue. So instead of using the selection tool, I need to use the animate tool. And because I've got some animation keys on there, I don't want to adjust those. So what I'll do, as we were talking about on the Discord, Tom, is I'll go to the FX room and I'll use something that I rarely use. I'll add a peg bar here. And I'll put it in between the text and the subscribe button, if I can. Will it let me? Now it's got to go directly to the table, hasn't it? This was the thing you was talking about earlier of not being able to parent a peg on there. So in that case, it's got to be the empty column option. So I'll create a new blank level. I'll use vector level, doesn't really matter which. Let it add a single drawing in a column, and it's the subscribe offset column. Just check up on the chat there. Have a sip of my lovely, lovely tea. Kozo, thank you. I could easily make a new one, yes, but I've been trying to make videos recently related to the work I'm actually doing, because I found in the past I've made a video to demonstrate a feature, and I'll demonstrate that feature with a very simple drawing of a cube or circle or just a block of colour moving or doing something with. Doesn't quite give away the full way you can use the feature. So I've been trying to demonstrate the feature with an actual practical use case of an animation or a drawing or whatever it is. So I think I'd like to do that at the point where I am creating a larger animation, so I can then talk about how to break down the animation into projects, scenes, different shots, and then how to assemble them together. But the basics of what I would do is in that video that you've already seen. So it's would be the same kind of thing that I've got in there already. Yes, Tom, it just seemed that's exactly what he was talking about. I read the words as you were saying, and I was thinking, I'm sure you could parent the peg bar to a column. Turns out you can't. I've always used it in the past. I must have used it in the past where the peg bar is parented to the table and then the actual column parented to the peg bar. So that must be the way I've used it in the past, but it would have been handy there, so I'll use the blank column option that you was talking about. Yeah, that sounds bad, Lake today. It almost sounds like the start of an animation story there that you're putting together. I think if I saw that, I'd be going the other way as well. Hello there, Nur. I won't use the full name. Idris? I'll call you Idris. Hello there. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you here. From Malaysia. Oh, marvellous. Welcome from Malaysia. Good to have you here. What time is it in Malaysia? We're looking at almost 4 p.m. here in England. It could be. Let's hope not. Excellent, Amar. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I would be scared too. Yeah, go back in the daytime, as you say, to take a look at it. It always looks different in the daytime. It's funny what nighttime does to the atmosphere of a situation. Alrighty, here we are. So we've got the text, my subscribe offset link here, and subscribe column there. So I had the text joined onto the table first, and I did have the text going directly to the subscribe. So the subscribe button was offset from where the text is, so we still want that offset. And now I'm going to plug into the middle my new blank column of a separate subscribe button offset to just place the subscribe button in the correct place. And that means I can use the animate tool, use any of these animate options. I'll stick with position for now, and then I'll click and drag that to where I want it to go. I think I could probably make the text slightly larger, to be honest. So I will do that first to make sure that fits the best it can, leaving a small gap before the side of the camera. And then on the offset column with the animate tool, I'll place that in the middle. And you don't need to add more drawings. You can leave the single drawing in frame 1 and the offset remains the same. And now you still use the animation keys in the subscribe column. And as I was saying in the chit chat and on Discord, it's a good way to have different animation types in different columns, so I can adjust the timing or position or numbers. So as I'm going to do here, if I look at the timing by clicking play, the subscribe button is rocking quite quickly, I want to make that rock slower, so I can click and drag the keys in that column. If I select on the key and then drag it over here, and the second key and drag it over here to 24, and that adjusts those keys without touching the offset key. So now it should animate much slower, like that. Absolutely, Cozone. Absolutely. Me too. I would really love to get to that position. I've got lots of things I want to work on first before working on a larger project. But when I do, you can guarantee I'll be talking about it here on the streams and on the main videos on a Friday. And I suspect that the ideas I've got in mind will need to change slightly based on the reality of working with a larger project. So that'll be interesting to get to. I really can't wait. As I said, I put those ideas together based on a few projects I've done in the past, and in particular for the Futurama project that I started working on, which hopefully I might get back to someday. I'd like to come back onto that, and it's something that I've talked about with Dave, who wrote the story and has voiced the actors for that. So hopefully we'll get back to that at some point. Okay, so this is the subscribe dancing base text. So let me just render this out so we've got a rough idea of how this looks. We need to increase the number of frames. I know 1440, which is 60 seconds. And I wanted to create a 60-second animation so I could use this overlay on any YouTube short which has a maximum length of 60 seconds. So we'll edit it down in the editor to whatever length we want. We'll use the WebM format because I've talked about in a separate video in Tahoma 2D. The WebM format actually gives you an animated video, but with transparency. We've not added any images in your video, so it allows you to create overlays much easier. And if you want to, you can also include sound and they'll be rendered with it, which is different to the GIF render format, which doesn't allow sound. So this is subscribe for more. We might change the text on that later again. We can replace the final video with whatever we render out from here. Let me hit save and render because that'll be a slightly slower process with it being so many frames. So yeah, so we can change the text we have in each of these overlays, but let's get them set up together, put them into the editor, start to see what's coming together, and then we can make the adjustments as necessary. Yeah, I've had a few ideas, a couple of which are probably well out of my league for what I'd like to do. I've had a story idea I'd love to put together as a project, but I think it would be too large of a project. But you never know, that one particular might just have to wait a little bit longer till I get to it, and that could be kind of my large final piece to aim for in a few years' time. I'm not in a great rush to get huge projects out there immediately. I'm still very much learning about animation, about how to assemble animations together, rendering out in separate scenes and projects, editing it together and pulling things together. So I'm still quite a long way off from pulling out a large project, but I've got a few smaller projects to consider, which is where I was talking about for my Sunday streams and what I might work on in the coming weeks. I think, as I say, I'll be doing some drawing and animation smaller projects for you to join in on as well, which would be fun. I can't wait to get to that. And then start to pick up a few more projects like this little monster animation I might do. We'll work on the 11-second club as well. That'll take up a few months working, I think. So once I've got this into a project, we'll then take a look at some of the stream footage, because when I stream out here from OBS, it records the stream. So I've got a copy on disk of each stream, so I can take a chunk of that hopefully and include it in the final video. I'll then possibly add some music over the top, a little bit of music, finish with a bit of a sound effect, which I've already got planned and queued up ready, and then just work on the timing, and that'll be about it. In theory, it shouldn't take too long to put together, but we'll see how it goes. So we're on the finalizing render section. So the first 0 to 99%, it renders each drawing out as a separate drawing. In this finalizing stage is where it goes through FFmpeg to connect them all, the drawings, into a single video. I am Amar, yes. There's a lot of reflection from the old green screen behind me today, so I'm a little bit green coloured, yes. I was looking much greener earlier on this morning when I first got everything set up in here. So this is the best we've got so far. So as I say, it's a 60-second rendering here, so it'll take a couple of minutes for it to finalise and pull together. But you've seen the kind of speed that you've got for a pretty simple overlay animation of how long it takes. And this is a 60-second clip in total. There we go. So if I go to my Explorer view and take a look in here, in the Outputs folder, we've got the PNG image animated with Tahoma, and then Subscribe for More WebM. And the other two renders are from the other scene, the original scene, where it's got the text at the top and Subscribe at the bottom. Good, so let me close down Tahoma and say bye-bye Tahoma. We can always pop it up later to make some edits here, or if you have any questions of things you want me to demonstrate, happy to do so. I've already loaded my video editor, which is Shotcut. Let me pop that into the chat for those that are new around here. I've talked about this editor quite a lot, because this is the one I've been using since I first started the channel. So every video that I've produced, I've made in Shotcut, whether it be for the Friday videos, for the Patreon channels, for the small videos that I share with friends and people asking questions. I sometimes put a small video together. Very capable video editor. It's free to download and use for any purpose, and I recommend it to everyone that wants to get into video editing, whether it be a very simple one as we're doing today, or a more complex video, whether it be animated or live action. It's very, very capable. So let's start off by dragging in those two pieces. So we've got the image and the Subscribe WebM. So let's drag those in here. So you drop them into the playlist to start dealing with them. Okay, Clemzime, good question there. When you rendered, did you render out of Tahoma or OpenTunes for the WebM format? So Clemzime's asking about rendering in WebM. When they did, it had a black background. Because there's two reasons that'll happen. One reason is if you're using OpenTunes. So yeah, was it in OpenTunes or Tahoma, Clemzime, when you rendered a WebM? Which is your program that you use? Because I use both and talk about both on the channel here. And I'll wait a few minutes, give you a chance to answer. There's no rush there. While you're doing that, let me just open this up. I think so. It's got all the basic tools, Amar, as you say, for video editing. There's plenty of other options you can choose to use, but if you're really not sure where to start, I think it's a pretty good way to get started, personally. So, are you there, Clemzine? I don't know if you've got the volume turned off, possibly, so you're missing the question, but you say you was rendering a WebM video file and it came out with a black background and you wanted it transparent. And then you ask how you can render a Shotcut transparent animation. I'm guessing you mean for Shotcut, a transparent animation. And for that to render out of Shotcut, when you go to the export, I did have an experiment with this, and you'll have to do the same. If you go to the export tab, you can choose different formats. And I believe it's the WebM WebM VP9 format that I used to render. So I went into there and changed a couple of the options in the advanced section. So what I did was I created a very short clip. So I created a scene that I wanted to render, and I snipped off everything but two or 3 seconds to make it short and quick to test out. And I rendered at each of the different formats, each of the different options for the WebM versions. So I used the WebM version and WebM VP9 and rendered them all out as different named files, and then took a look to see on the output if I could reuse them to have a transparent background, and one of them did, but only one. So you have to have a play with the options there. Yeah. When I first started, I downloaded, I think it was 3 or 4 different free video editors. And for me, this one stood out because it loaded quickly, it allowed me to edit quickly. The files were saved in plain text. I think they were like XML format possibly, but they're in a format that if you change a video file name, or perhaps move all your videos from one folder to another, you could do a quick find and replace on the text version of your shortcut file, and it would look in the new location. So it's really easy to manipulate and move things around. So I really, really like it. Okay, I'm guessing Clemzine's lost connection, so let me just pop this. Yes, that's absolutely right. Just Burner, thank you. Blender is also good for video editing if you know how to use Blender. But for rendering for WebM, you didn't answer the question, so I'll just continue anyway. Rendering WebM out of OpenToons doesn't give you a transparent background, but rendering out of Tahoma does, is the short answer. And if you're using Tahoma, you may have another option set, but I'll let you ask the question if necessary. But yeah, definitely use Tahoma for WebM, and I've shared a link there for a video file where I talk about that. Okay, so I've got my 2 WebM files in my list of files here. Let me do a save first, and I'm going to save this in my Tahoma folder. Okay, let's create, let me think about where to put this. In fact, rather than my Tahoma folder, let me save it in the place where I save all my completed files. So it's going to be a Friday video. I don't know the date yet, but let me create a folder. It's where I keep all my videos that I put together and assemble for releasing on a Friday. So this will be Monster Jump YouTube Short. Because once you've saved the project in a location, renaming the location or moving files around can break it, because Shortcut expects files in the same location you saved at. So let me save this here. So I'll just call this YouTube Short. I can rename all of this later once it's complete, but let me have a file saved on disk so I can hit save regular and not worry about losing any information. Okay, so let's click on the burger menu down the bottom and add some video tracks. And this is a fairly recent version, updated I think a week or 2 ago. And this menu, for instance, I know has changed since my previous version, so it might look different to you, to the version that you've currently got if you're using it. I did try DaVinci. That didn't work for me. I was uncomfortable with it. I believe it saved in a database, which was the first red flag for me. I wasn't happy with, and I just didn't like the way it worked. Again, the simplicity of Shortcut was great for me. Exactly kind of what I wanted. Okay, so I plan to have these overlays in front of the transposing videos. So let me drag and drop these onto the top timeline, and we'll extend it a little bit longer. We'll work out the timing in a second. So that now is just shown at the bottom, and I can put something on these previous timelines, and then they'll sit behind that text. So the stacking order is kind of the same as most art type programs or timeline style programs, that the bottom timeline row is behind everything. The next one above is in front of the first. The next one in front of those two. So again, hit save regular. Let's take a look at on the output for the video file we rendered with the actual animation. Let's take a look at that and see where it sits as well before we go any further. So into Homer, it's the monster jump outputs, and delete the previous version, and that's the one we rendered today. If you hover over there, it should tell you, oh, it's not got the date, but I can tell by the name that is today's. So I'll take a copy of that rather than leaving it there. So I'll copy that and we'll place it in the location where we saved this video file. So my Friday videos, it's the YouTube short one, and we'll paste that in there. In fact, we should probably do the same with those other two to keep everything together. Copy and paste. Right, so let's remove those two. And then we'll know that all the files are in the same location, so I can edit the original and it won't affect these. Yeah, I think that could be my problem, Just Burner, that the hardware in my computer wasn't quite powerful enough, so it was going quite slow to work with and to edit. It looks amazing, plenty of great features, but again, for what I need, I want something lightweight to work with me. Lakes today, nice, thank you. Did you share that on the Discord server? Have we seen that, your first animation? Yeah, it worked on my old laptop as I had before my new computer, but I seem to recall it being a bit slow, like crawling through mud trying to get it to work. There's a few issues, but again, plenty of options out there. So same as animation software, it's not about the software that helps you to create good work. It's really essentially it's about you and how you use the tools. Yes, Tom, I do, exactly. I kind of forgot about that today as I'm rushing around everything else here. I always have a copy in a single folder, because then if I go back to Homer and re-render this, it will change the video that's on disk, or if I re-render the text, it'll change that. And I might decide I want to use the older version or the new one, so it just means I'm explicitly stating to myself which files are in this project. So I can render out of Homer, bring the output to this folder, and if I reload Shotcut, it'll use the new file, or I can choose to use the old file and the new together. It kind of makes it easier for me to manage my files. Okay, so that's those three here. So again, let's drag the image to the top row, remove the spacing at the start, extend it out a little bit. For a quick experiment, let's drag the animation to a row behind, click in the timeline somewhere, and we can see how this looks here. So we can see it sort of covers the monster's feet. If I hit play on this, so I need to have a smaller area at the bottom covered up, so I can edit that now if you want to. Before we go any further. Yeah, so I need to edit that to create a smaller area. Let's just zoom in a little bit and see how much space we need. So it's where he squashes down here. Yeah, it is just that little bit. Okay, so I'm going to hit save, so that's all in the right place. Close that down, and I'm going to open Homer, and we'll edit that straight away before we go any further. You dropped your computer. Oh no. You don't want to do that. Oh, that's scary. Exactly, Tom. Yeah, that's interesting. Again, I bet we all work slightly different for these different projects and how to manage them. Because from your simple shortcut project, you can reference files from any location and bring them in. And that's handy if you want to just render out of Tahoma and have it instantly usable. But I like having a separate folder. That works for me. Okay, subscribe text, animated with. This is the first one. Go back to the standard view. Make sure I've not accidentally overwritten it, which I may have done. Animated with, subscribe. That's the subscribe one, and that's the wrapper. Okay, so for this one, I did overwrite it. That's fine. We can fix that up. I'm trying to think the best way to do this. We'll go from the subscribe because I want to have the same size black bar area. So let's go to the black bar on this one. And it is quite tall anyway, there's a lot of black space at the top. So let's just resize that down by a little bit. There. So that'll get his feet in and have a small gap underneath. Possibly a bit more to make sure we get all the shadow. I'll save that. And let's render that out straight away. Actually, I'm saying let's do that. No, because it's quite slow. As I say, today's going to be higgledy-piggledy, so do try and stick with me. Save scene as. I'll save this one as the animated with text. Overwrite that. Make sure I'm on the right scene now. Animated with text. So now, if I go to my effects room, I can insert another offset for that if I wanted to, or just go to the text column actually and just change the position of that, and the whole thing will move. That is okay in this instance, I think, because now I can use the selection tool to move the text that I want into here. That's right, Lakes today, yes. So it's really the past 6 weeks or so I've been working on this animation, and each week I went through a different phase. So the first week was blocking out roughly what I wanted the animation to be, where I wanted him to move. The next one I think was to work out the timing for the jump. Then I worked on ink, to draw a nice ink line. Then I did some paint for the character. And then finally last week was the background and effects. And then during the midweek, I added shadows for the monster. So if you go to my channel, click on playlists, you'll see a playlist called livestreams. You can take a look through them and skip through to see the part of the process that you're interested in. I tried to name each live stream accurately with what's inside it, the content of what to work on. So you can find the part that you should want to take a look at. That's fine. Okay, so let's now try and make this text small enough to fit into that gap. So holding Shift key again keeps the text ratio, the height and width, the same, so you can make it larger and smaller, so I didn't accidentally make it too flat or too wide text. So make that slightly smaller, and then bring it down. I missed some of the letters there. Try again, holding Shift, slightly smaller, and try and place it in the middle. So I won't render the video just yet. I'm using the cursor keys now to move that up, just to push it up a tiny bit. Okay, I'll hit save on that. And let's render out this single image. Go to the output settings. Let me just check what I called it before, so I can call it by the same name. So animated with, I'll press F2 on there so I can get the exact name. Paste it in here. I don't want the frame number, that'll get added by Tahoma. So just animated with Tahoma, and it's going to be a PNG image. Only frame 1 to frame 1. Check the camera settings, shrink value of 1, so I'll hit save and render. Great question, Lakes today. I'm using Windows 11. Yes, well spotted, I am. What's my opinion on it? I hate it. I wish I'd stuck with Windows 10. The reason I got Windows 11 was I've just had a new computer for Christmas that I'm working on here. And the options were to have Windows 10 or 11 installed. And you know Microsoft, they soon get rid of old versions of Windows, stop supporting it, so you're better off upgrading when you can to get the next version. But really, I've jumped onto it a little bit too soon. Hopefully they'll improve it over the coming weeks and months, I don't know. But the main issue for me is I can't edit the buttons on the bottom status bar here. So in Windows 10 and prior, you could change the buttons to have a separate button on the status bar for each application you've got open and for each window for that application. So if you've got multiple windows open, as I have for Windows Explorer, there's 4 open at the minute, I'd have 4 buttons, and I had them in the wide button view with the text next to them. So by glancing at the bottom of the screen, you could see which button was for my live stream folder, for my outputs folder, the monster jump short, and the other outputs folder. So you could glance at the screen, move the mouse down, click it, and you're in the folder. Very efficient. Now I've got to come over to the button, either click it or hover, and then go to choose the right window, and then select it to open it. And if you want to open all 4, you click 1, they all disappear. So you've got to then go down again, select the next window, click it. There's 2. Go down again, next window. It's just crazy. Honestly, after using Windows in the other way for so long, using it like this, it's just so inefficient. And the second thing I hate, if I can rant for 1 minute more, is that in the start menu, you can't organise the buttons that are shown and the programs you've got in the start menu. It's so annoying. I had my programs organised into groups for development, for image, for audio, for video, and it made it so much easier to find the programs that you wanted rather than having to type them into the search bar every time. So I've had to create shortcuts on my desktop to group them together, which is a terrible way to work. I don't want to have to do that. So those 2 features alone makes me want to go back to Windows 10. I don't think you can once you've installed Windows 11, when it starts with Windows 11. I'm tolerating it for now, but if I had a choice, I wouldn't have chosen 11 just yet. I'm afraid not. There's no classic view. That's right, they do sometimes. I've Googled about this, and people have got suggestions where you can edit your registry to try and change some of the views. You can't change it entirely, or installing a third-party start menu option, a program to give you an old-fashioned start menu like Windows 10, Windows XP, or what have you. That's a ridiculous thing to have to do. These are features that have been in Windows for years, and they're not here. Oh, it's so frustrating. It really is. And in my work computer, I'm on Windows 10 there, and that's got the Windows option in the status bar to upgrade to Windows 11. There's no way I'm upgrading just yet. Not till they fix those issues. Yeah, eventually PowerToy, maybe. And maybe they'll just add these features back in. When I Google, there were lots of people asking the same questions. So I hope they've got the feedback and they bring these options back. I don't know why they want to insist on changing the way things work. You can improve it, but always have the old options. So for people that want to use them, they can. And maybe it's just me being an old man, but it's so inefficient for me to organise your windows on your start bar and to organise the start menu. It just feels wrong. Anyway, breathe. Have a cup of tea. Oh, I'm getting low. Yeah, I'd be interested in what you think about it. It depends how much you use these features, I guess, currently. The start menu one in particular, I use that a lot to get to my programs. and now you can pin some programs, but you can't change the order they're pinned in. You can't group them into named groups like I had before, and you've got this bottom third to a half area for recommended showing nothing. It's useless. It's ridiculous. It really is. But anyway. Actually, they also got the feedback from me, Tom. I got an email from Microsoft with one of those questionnaires. Have you got 10 minutes for questionnaires? Like, yes, I have. This time, yes, I have. Clicked it, typed all my feedback. So we'll see. And I pressed the button of, would you recommend Windows 11 to other people? Absolutely not. Not till they fix these features. They may not be widely used. It may just be a few of us that use them. But because of all the software I use at home for, the open tunes for audio editing, video editing, everything else, I've got quite a few pieces of software. Not all of them you necessarily remember the names of if you don't use them frequently. So having them in that grouping on screen is really handy. But also at work, for development, I've got so many different tools that I use that I've got, again, grouped into my start menu. It makes it so efficient to do it that way. You press start, glance to the development area, and you can select the tool. It's just a huge loss for me. Aside from that, those two features, it's not much different to Windows 10 for me. They've changed the look and feel with the rounded window edges. You can see on the output settings here. Yeah, okay, if you want to change that, that's fine. The way the settings dialog's organised, yeah, fine. If you right click on the taskbar, you've no longer got the option to show your taskbar manager. You've got to press Ctrl-Alt-Delete to get to that. Okay, they've hidden that from me. I can find it. Context menus, they've changed. For those of you that haven't seen yet, let me show you this. If you right click on a file, you get this smaller context menu now. If you want to get to all the options, you press the bottom Show More Options button, and then you get the classic style context menu. But again, that's an extra clicks for somewhere where you could just right click before and get the options. Now you've got to press that button to get to these. So that's not great for me. So yeah, it's one or two things that's a bit different. But honestly, those two features of the start buttons and the start menu. Yes, you did, Lake. It's your fault. It's just, it's so frustrating. Wow, comparing Windows with Commodore 64. I'm not sure how I could compare them. They're so different. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people use the pin. I don't use the pinning generally to pin things to my taskbar because you get to see programs you're not using and programs you are using together. I find that weird to see, but you can change it. You can choose how you want to work. Fantastic. We can all make our own choices for what works for us, but removing the choice of what works for you. So I want to see the names of these windows on the taskbar and separate buttons for each one. I wish they'd bring it back. Yeah, a lot of people use the search feature, I'm sure. But when you come to think about what's that application I installed a while back to normalise the sound, for instance, there was one I know I did install on my previous computer on my laptop. There's one for normalising sound. Well, I had a shortcut linked to that where I'd got my audio programs. So next to Audacity and some others, I'd got this program. I have no idea what it's called. So how do you find that easily without browsing to program files or having a shortcut on your desktop? Because I don't pin everything to the taskbar. You kind of tell, yeah, they do highlight which ones are running, so you've got the bar underneath to know which ones are running, but at a quick visual glance, it's just so different. And it may be that I'm an odd one out, but I really don't like it. And I've been ranting for I don't know how long now. Because I don't want to see lots of small icons. That's just messy for me. I'd like to see just the programs I'm using so I can get to them. I don't see programs I'm not using because they're in the way. To me, it's like having a clear desktop, either computer desktop or a physical desktop. Imagine having to move stacks of paper to get to your mouse to move the mouse, and then moving a box out of the way to get to your mug of tea. You know what I mean? It feels like there's just too much in the way. Oh, you're right, Just Burner. Oh, I need to go for a walk and get a breath of fresh air. Absolutely. But no, great question. Thank you for asking that. Those two features, they annoy me. I don't know if you knew that. Right, so that's rendered. So let me open Shotcut again. And if I go to the YouTube short folder, I can double click on there and see my project with my, should have my new size. That's the animated width. Make sure I've got the right one. Oh, of course, that's my local version. We're talking about having local copies. So again, close that. So there's my local copy, but I rendered out, if I can find the right window, rendered out to here. So copy the new version over, replace it, and then if I open my project file, we'll see more space now beneath his feet. The thing is though, you're right, Tom, having them pinned down, you know where they always are, and I'm sure there's been lots of work done checking with people having experiments and some user interface time to find out what works for people. Having them in the same place can work for lots of people, but that's my point about the start menu. I had all my shortcuts in the right place, and I go to my start menu to see the programs I want to start, to find them, and for me, I go to the start bar to see the programs I've got running. It's two different concepts that they've muddled together. But again, I'm moaning. Let me stop that. Let me see where this goes. So hit play. Make sure everything is above that black line. So the feet disappear slightly behind at the end there. So I might want it even smaller, but we'll come back to doing that later. Again, I'll zoom in, look down here. So yeah, we lose one of the feet there. Not necessarily too bad, because we want enough space for the bottom, so yeah, we might come back to that. So let me go back to Tahoma. I'll assume that's correct. And if I reload the subscribe scene here, I'll use the selection tool on the text column to move the text off the screen. I don't need that. I've got the subscribe set up as I had it before. Yep, that's good. Hit save. Yes, I do have transparency on the banner, if I understand the question there, Tom. So in Tahoma, I created the banner at the bottom here with a black background, the box at the bottom, and the text in front. Oh, I might understand. So instead of being solid black, oh, that's interesting. Let me try that out. I mean, you don't need to see too much behind it, but yeah, let me bring down the transparency, bring down the opacity there. Just realised what I've done. Because they're sharing the same level, moving the text in one moves it in the other. So let me just place that roughly in the centre. Fine, we'll render that one separately. So go to the dark box, bring down the opacity. Try 50%. I don't like the way Tahoma 2D, it seems to be a long way to the right, so let me just adjust that. Again, using the cursor keys to shuffle over. And then select all of that and center it. Just doing it by eye. So let me render that out. Check the output settings is only 1 frame. Yep, that's good. Save and render. Joe Henning! Hello, Jeremiah. Good to have you with us. Yeah, it's a shame. Just burner. OpenToonz doesn't have the transparency on WebM. And I remember when Manong John first looked at that, and it was an issue with, I think, one of the options for FFmpeg. So it actually rendered out the frames as PNG images, which does have transparency, but when it assembled them, it hadn't set a setting to create the transparency in the video. So we enabled that setting, and you got transparency straight away. It's a fairly easy fix. So again, another one of those things that could be transported to OpenToonz, and hope it is at some point. Changes. I know what you're doing there, Amar. True, you could do. It does sound like an easy fix. I hope that does get added. Let's give that a go. That could be easier, as you say, Tom. And again, this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this on the stream. Here we are. To be able to have you make suggestions like this, all of you. So let's click on the overlay here, the actual overlay video. Go to filters, click on plus. I've already got opacity as one of my favorites, so I'll select that and bring down the opacity here rather than in Tahoma, as you say. Fewer round trips. Excellent idea as always, Tom. Thank you. Hit save. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, saves me worrying about the arms and legs there. So we could even do that to have a taller background, but I like the fact he's standing above the banner, so that's fine. And the eyeball, bink bink, stays there above the banner as well. Great idea. We'll keep that. Right, so that's the basics for the overlay. We've got no videos in there just yet, but after that mammoth rant about Windows, I'm going to take a short break and get a fresh cup of tea, and then we'll come back and we'll see if we can start doing something with some of these videos. So I'll see you back here in about 5 minutes. So we've got the basics set up for the overlay text. So next I want to take a look at adding some actual video. So I've got all my live stream videos here stored in this folder. So I'll add these one by one into the list of video clips, and then we'll find out which ones we can add to create a reasonable looking YouTube short. Let me just put that over here as I work through them all. So let's have a look at the first one. Let's drag that over there, and I'll add this to the bottom here. And what I was thinking of doing was to add in a kind of a speed paint view of each of the stages. So one showing the sketch happening quite quickly, followed by the inking in roughly the same place, and the colouring and that kind of thing, and ending with the actual animation itself. But I know I've had issues in the past with Shotcut and using huge video files like this, 'cause this one here, for instance, is almost 3 hours long. So let's see how it copes with this. And if it struggles too much, I'll just have to do it offline and do it elsewhere. So I thought I'd try it on the stream and see how we got on. So it could take a minute to get it started. Okay, so if I select the clip, the first thing I want to do is I'll put in the speed increase, so I can watch through the clip at the pace that would be added into the video. So it'll be perhaps 3 or 5 times as quick. So let's go into here. And this is where Shotcut struggles to keep up with it being such a long clip. So I'll say a bit of a different stream today than usual, so we'll see how we get on with this. Put 5 in there and let that change its timing. True, Tom, true. Play it in YouTube first. Possibly. It's handy when it works smoothly in Shotcut to play it in here. You can play it, say, at the increased speed, but that's a possibility we might have to go to if it struggles too much today. Depends. It's a funny situation with Shotcut. Some days, I don't know if it's the program or my computer, but some days it runs really smoothly without pausing. No issues like this. Others, it just struggles to keep up. So we'll see how we get on. While that's thinking about it, let me try your suggestion. Yes, I do too. So I'll turn off the volume first, so I don't need to hear the speeded up talking. But even that, you can see clicking it, it struggles to do it quickly. So hit that to show the full length. That's really handy. I've done that myself for these kinds of situations to nip through the whole animation or the whole clip here, because the first part of the stream, of course, is talking about what happened last week, chatting with you guys, sharing links and what have you. So the first part of this isn't any use at all for what we're after. So let me go towards the end of that. So most of this video file is stuff we can't use, so let me trim that and just delete that first part anyway. Let's take a look at that. I know, yeah, the green hair thing, that is weird. It's weird how reflective the green is behind me, because actually this morning, as I was trying to set up the cameras and lights and everything, I held a cloth up behind me and sort of covered that area, and the reflection didn't come on top, but it does when I'm sitting here with nothing behind me. It's partially because I'm so close to the green background. If only I could, Tom. So if I was sitting here producing oxygen at the same time, that'd be pretty good. So let's hit the zoom button so I can see more of this. What zoom size are we on? Let's go to 200, see where that is. Too much. That's 100%. 50? Yeah, I think 100 is better. There we go. So I need to change the scale of this to fit within that vertical format. And I need to scale it to fit to show just the drawing as well. So it might look a little bit fuzzy. I'm not 100% sure how that'll come out, but I wanted to see how it came anyway. So that's the kind of clip I wanted. So if I cut that, go to the very beginning and hit play. Get past that. Watch me having a drink. There, I've not got green hair. Slightly grey maybe, but not green. Okay. So again, zoom to fit to make it easier to edit this. Go back a little bit, trim that first part off. No problem, Qualimon. Good to have you with us today. Catch you next time. Hopefully we'll be doing some more drawing next time rather than this kind of editing. But see you next time. Minecraft grass block. Okay, what have we got then? So let's rewind to the beginning, hit play. start drawing the little monster. So I kind of want it in very short pieces. That's kind of all I want, only a few seconds, really. So I'll edit my talking out here as well. So it's going to be quite, let's say, quite a dull process, I think, really. Let's try zooming in a little bit, make it easier. Bye! See you later. Roly, hello there. Yep, so up to drawing the hands, done. So I'll cut there. Do I draw the face on? Blah blah blah, lots of blah blah blahs. As I say, it's easier to skip through here than YouTube, I've found, especially with the buffering, but as I say, we'll see how well it copes. So cut that and move that. So I need to trim off as much as I can, and I might come back and retrim again. So drawing the eyes. So I really need to trim this up as tight as I can to make it as easier to follow as it can. And zooming in and out won't help, so that's fine for that. So I think that's all I want for the sketch. Let me check again, show all that video. Where did we end up? So we added some animation on this first day as well. Oh, you've had a look, have you, Just Burner? That's a one-line fix, was exactly the kind of thing I expected. Was it just a setting in the FFmpeg rendering? I do remember Mine and John saying he looked into it, and you can see it yourself in your cache folder. It generated PNGs with transparency, so it was just the assembling of them, I'm sure, that was the issue. So if that was an easy fix, I really would have hoped some of these easier fixes could have gone over to OpenToonz by now, but again, it's an ongoing conversation about OpenToonz and Tahoma working as separate programs. Okay, so I've got the sketch of me adding him in here. I can remove a little bit at the beginning there, so I will get rid of that again, just to make it as tight as possible. So I'll start off sketching him, the head, bit of the face, and I'm using L and K to play and pause, which are a peculiar set of key combinations that you can't edit, which is a little bit of a frustration with Shotcut, to make them in an easier position on the keyboard. Right. And then go to where I start drawing again. I keep saying he. And then I'll cut that. So I'm using the cursor keys to step through one frame at a time. So again, another large spacing there. So where I've finished drawing the feet, I'm going to cut that, ignore the erasing and the scroll. Get back to the start of the arms. Don't want this to be quite snappy, so I'll do a trim and delete that part. So I draw the feet, then the arms straight away, then the face and eyebrows. Fine. So I'll do some animation, but I think I'll concentrate on drawing frame 1 first. So let's bring in the next video clip. The next one, I'm looking through each week, timing and in-betweening, finishing sketching. Let's have a look at that one. In fact, let me look at that outside. Here we are, outside of Shotcut by playing the video. I'll mute it. so we don't hear all the rambling. So that's where we started off with his fuzzy face. Break time, and it's more neat drawing of the animation, possibly with a few in between. There's actually some onion skinning, and then the explosion at the end. So that's really still sketching, so I won't use that one. The next one is inking, so let me find the video file for that. There we go. And again, it's already muted, that's good. Let's drag through there. Okay, so there he is, fully sketched. And obviously I've made some changes to that. So still doing some sketching there. So I didn't get to inking until the following week. I told you it'd be a different stream this week, different type of stream, and possibly a boring one. Hopefully we'll get something more interesting soon. Here we go, the next one. This says inking again, so I tried inking again this next week. Yep, so that really was inking, I can see. So let's bring that one in and see what we can do with it. So let's delete off the timeline the rest of that stream. I'm going to extend out that video clip and hit split straight away, so I can see where I timed the end of that to be, and then I can fade in over the top and adjust that timing. I don't need this full animation right now, so I can remove that. We'll adjust the side of this later. I was going to say adjust it later. Depends how many clips we get. If I go to the full size screen, I'll show you what I mean. If I go to filters, after selecting the first video clip, and add a filter of size, position and rotate. And you can see I've added my most favourite filters to the favourites list, so I don't have to go into the video and the audio section, because there's so many different filters you can use in here, but I found myself using the same ones over and over again. So size, position and rotate, and then you can just click and drag over the video to resize it. And then it's all about trying to figure out how large to make it in here. It's a little bit tricky to do when you're resizing larger. I can click in the center there and reposition it. And this is where I kind of want to do it all together. So if I drop in the final animation, I can use the arrow keys to move left and right to look between the clips to figure out where I want to have him drawn. So let's go towards the end, and that's the final piece, and go left and right, and that's how I want to sort of reposition it. So let's get the monster in the center. Oh, I can use a mouse wheel to zoom. That's something I didn't realise for this one. So with the pointer in the centre of the screen, using the mouse wheel I can zoom in and out. That's really handy. So I don't want to have the monster large or small. We'll figure that out as we add the other clips. Let's just place him in the center for now. Okay. So then click on the second layer, and now I can drag this into here. So that's the recording. Let's put that at the bottom in the playlist and drag that into the second layer. give it a second to load in there. And then we'll do the same thing again. I'll set the play speed. I'll delete the large chunk of video that we don't want and try and find the first part of where we're doing the drawing in ink, and then we can resize him as necessary. So with him selected, let's go to the properties, double check by clicking on the first clip. Did I make it 5 times speed? Why is that lake? Ah, here we go. Okay. I don't. I love my hair being short, so it's a little bit long for me at the minute. A little bit green, but I can't really do anything with that at the hairdressers. And again, you can see in shortcut it's taking a long time to get started. Once you've clipped things down, it's really quick most of the time. It is only when I'm working with like 2 and 3 hour long clips that it struggles for me. So again, this could be somewhere where a different editor could work better for you. It's the 1 to 200. Hello there, welcome to the stream today. Yeah, a little bit green. If we go closer, it's still a bit green. It's still a funny colour. Yeah, I could do with sorting that out and figuring out how to best get rid of that. One way would be just to get rid of the green screen altogether and have the background, which is really plain and boring, but that would help with the greenness. Maybe I'll do that one week. But the reason I don't, as I said quite a few months ago, is it's nice, I think, to be able to see behind me when I've got things on the timeline and things on the screen. I can move out of the way easier and you can see what's in there. How are you doing, Wanted? Are you doing alright today? So what are we all working on today? What's the plans? Have we all got some animation and drawing plans today? But it's on 5, so I'll do the same for that one. Which will take a while to select, I'm sure. It's nice to see the project, the group project working well. Tom and Maria. I keep checking in on that. I don't feel like offering too many opinions at the minute as we're going along. As I say, I think too many cooks could spoil the broth there if I just start throwing in my 2 pennies too much. I've joined in a little bit, but I don't want to do too much. It feels like I've been stepping on the toes of everybody else in the group. So I'm more than happy to kind of see how it progresses in the first couple of projects to see how to find the best way forward for that. As I say, if I can help out, it's in the colouring stages. So that's kind of more where I'm interested in getting involved. We discussed this morning, I saw someone mentioned about changing the colour of the characters. And if I do the colouring, I plan to do it either in vector levels or in smart raster levels, toons raster levels in OpenToons. So you can change the colours afterwards, because as you say, depends on the background colours, the lighting that we choose. We might choose to change the colours of the characters of their clothes or whatever. So we can always rechange them later. Nice, Cody Bob. Some storyboards. Excellent. Good. It's good to get through those stages, the animation stages like that, of working on your story, getting to the storyboards, sketching, inking, painting, etc. Excellent. Wanted. Yes. What am I doing? So today I'm doing some editing, which is a little bit weird for what we do on the channel. But basically, over the past 6 or so weeks, I've been working on a little monster animation, and it's very short. And I've been working on it as practice to learn more about Tahoma, more about myself, and where I need to learn where I need to learn. So to work on animation, to figure out what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, what I enjoy doing. It's about an 8-second long clip in total, so it's a very short animation. So I'm putting together clips from the stream, assembling them into an edit so I can release the whole thing as a YouTube short to run for maybe 20-30 seconds. We've got up to 1 minute on a YouTube short, but finishing with the actual animation itself. So I'm just kind of putting things together to see if I can get an interesting video that I'll release on a Friday as a separate video. And I thought I'd do it on the stream to let you watch along to see what I'm doing. It's a little bit of a dull process, I understand that, so I'm not expecting everyone to stick around. Some people won't be interested in this side of working with projects, so that's fine, and I'll see you next time for more drawing and animation. But it's an essential part of getting this video together, so I thought I'd share it with you so you can watch along, join in, ask questions, and see where we get to together. No, I'm not moulding. I'm doing okay. I'm not getting too mouldy. I do look it, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm trying not to, Tom. And I say there's some. I know Amar's asking some questions and people are giving their opinions about things, and as I say, I think just too many opinions will be a bad thing, and I don't need to. I'm quite happy with whatever decisions you all come up with. As I've said a few times, I'm interested in seeing the process and where we get to at the end, to then learning lessons from where it went well, where it could go smoother, changing a little bit for project 2 and seeing how that goes. I'm trying to stick to my area for the colours and some later parts of the project. Oh, nice. Thank you, Amar. Just talking about you as well. Yeah, as I say, I do keep an eye on the chat and to have a read of what we're all doing, so I can keep informed on that until it comes to my section. I'm not sure yet, Just Burner. If you're asking about music for the clips here for this video, I'm not sure what music to include yet. It's going to depend on the length of the clips. I have got on my other screen YouTube audio library open, so I can take a look at that and try and find the clip. I just kind of want some sort of, I guess, kind of exciting music, is that the phrase? I don't want it to be too calming and slow because of the nature of the video being a YouTube short. People are scrolling past quite quickly, so that's why I'm kind of trying to keep the video quite tight as well, so that people that are interested in animation will recognise that's what it is and they'll continue to watch through the video. I've also got an audio clip for the end of the animation that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and it's basically a 10-pin bowling audio clip of someone striking the pins for when he collapses, so I'd like to include that at the end. I don't know if I'll get all this finished in today's stream though. I'm going quite slow today, I'm getting quite talky in between shotcut being slow. I think, Maria, I think where you can continue to get involved is some of the conversations I saw this morning, where you're talking about the intention of your story. Simple things like discussing if the chap has his hands in his pockets as he walks. So as you wrote the actual story, the initial idea for the story, what you had in your mind is really important for the group to understand. So I think you've got a lot of input through the rest of the process, to be honest. And as I say, there's 10 of us or so in the group. We could all have input, we'd all have ideas, but if we all threw our ideas in, it'd get quite messy, which is why I'm sort of stepping back at the minute. But yeah, you should keep discussing what we're doing in that project to get your input in. I think it's really important. No wanted, not in this occasion. I just want to have music. Here's another bot. I just want to have music over the clips this time, as I did last time. I've thought about adding a voiceover, or even creating a YouTube short specifically to talk about a small feature in the program, or about to discuss how OpenToonz and Tahoma is a free animation software. We might come back and do that another time, but for this, it's just music over the top. Okay, let's click the button. Let's save first. Save us all. Hit the button to show the whole timeline, which will make it easier to skip through and find the piece we want. So let's jump to where the first bit isn't used for, can't be used for this clip. Just cut that off. Right click and choose remove. And I want to see really where I start inking. So let's zoom in a little bit. Not too much. And again, I'll hit the zoom button. Is it 50 or 100% I zoom to? We'll see in a second. That's fine, just so I can see it on the screen here. Okay, so I'm doing some blah blah blah. Volume's turned off so I can hit play. And I can do a double speed on top of the 5 times speed. So let's run through this until I get to some drawing. Okay, that's me setting up my tablet. Setting up the screen, having a chat. So I'd not quite considered what I was doing with this video at the beginning. I had some ideas already in mind that I wanted to kind of use some clips from the stream, but when I ran the streams, I wasn't kind of thinking about the zoom size of the document to be able to overlay them from one week to the next and all be the same size. That would have been useful, I think, to have done. So let's see what we've got in here. I do talk a lot, don't I? It's no wonder I don't get so much animation done. Come on, Darren, start drawing. That's the animation running through. I was sure I started earlier on. Let me skip ahead. That's looking closer. So that's choosing the pen. Get the zoom size right. There. Okay. So let's come back a little bit, hit split, remove that, and then I'll use the skip to the previous cut point, which is the end of that clip, and then here so I can see how this looks. Okay, so I want to change from one clip to the other, so I want to zoom to fade in. So on the filters, I'll select that clip and choose to add a fade in video. I'll tick the box to adjust the opacity, which allows it to fade in on top of another video, which will look better. Rather than having a full second, let me reduce that down to a half second for a zoom in, a fade in, and then I will zoom in and overlay them so I can see the fade happening there. I don't, Kozo. I have thought about adding a tutorial for it, a brief tutorial. I'm definitely going to create a tutorial, not really a tutorial, a video at least, showing my editing process for my Friday videos. I was going to create that for Patreon as a behind the scenes process. But I have thought about creating a brief tutorial for using Shotcut for animations, to join 2 clips together, and the basic use of Shotcut as most of us will use. There are plenty of tutorials available online that you can get to, so I don't feel the need to do full tutorials. I might do a brief one at some point. Oh, Lake today, bye! Thanks for dropping by today, good to see you. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next weekend, hopefully. So that cut there is where I wanted to end, and then that's right, I wanted to fade in directly after that split. And this is going to go slow because it's a large clip again. Something like that. I can then remove this first animation clip because that was here just for kind of a spacing issue for the zoom. And we'll see how that looks. Absolutely, yeah, stay safe, definitely. Hopefully speak to you soon. So again, I would cut this clip down earlier. The earlier you cut it down, the quicker it'll work. but I'm not sure quite what I need for this clip yet. So I was hoping just to take a look at this first part and see how it goes, and then cut it down. So I just select that first one, and then tap delete, which removes it. And of course, the first time using Shotcut on a stream, everything's going to go slower. It's just Murphy's Law, as they say. And as always, same with OpenToons and Tahoma, if ever it gets in a state where it's thinking about things, it's working slowly, and you see the spinning pointer, try and avoid clicking the screen, because that can make it crash a lot sooner for some reason. I don't know why it happens, but it can. Let's hit save, and then move along here. Yeah, I might need to just delete some of that clip to get this to go quicker, because it's really struggling to keep up for some reason. Not sure why. I'm having a look over here, and it's not using much of my memory or CPU. Yeah, ordinarily, Just Burner, it doesn't feel slow. With the clips I use, normally I'll do a screen recording, say my Friday videos. I'll do a screen recording, and I'll be working up to half an hour maybe, and bring that screen recording in, along with a video clip if necessary, looking over my shoulder or a front face camera. And I can edit a 30-minute video really easy without it struggling. But as I say, the other day, after updating to a newer version, that's when I noticed it started to do this. So I'm not sure if it's the size of the clips I'm using, or if it's the version I'm using, or as Tom says, restarting it might help as well. You're not wrong, Amar. It's kind of what I expected, to be honest. That today's stream was going to be either go really well, or it was going to go terribly, and I'd finish early and just give up, throw it all out of the window, and say it's not working, and turn it off. But I thought I'd give it a go anyway and have a bit of fun. I've heard nothing yet, Kozo. No, I've not heard anything yet, but as far as I know, he was on the border, I believe, of Ukraine and was it Estonia? He was on the border, and he was in a safe situation with his family, so hopefully that continues. Let me show the whole timeline by clicking that button again, and then we can cut some of the video down to make it hopefully work a bit quicker. Yeah, it could be, Tom, and again, could be in the new version, because I notice on the screen just here above my little green head, there's the history panel on the right hand side there. That didn't used to be there. That's new in this version. So I don't know if they've changed the way the undo history works, maybe. Was it Moldova? Okay. The thing about this going slow, it gives me time to drink plenty of tea. And if you want to support my tea drinking habit, then feel free to treat me to a little coffee or a Darren Tea. Link down below in the description. Yeah, this is really slow. I've never had it going this slow. As I say, I don't normally edit stream videos. I have done a little bit, but not often, and not for a while. So I'm really not sure if it's the size of the clip. So today isn't a great advert for Shotcut. We'll do that another day, so don't worry about that. But yeah, making a video about using Shotcut. I like the idea of that a lot. I really do like that. But again, I don't want to just put a video together showing theoretically how you'd use it. I'd rather require the need to connect a couple of clips together or to add some overlay text and to show how to do that in the program. I think that'd be more worthwhile for people to see an actual use case and not what I'm doing right now because this is no advert at all. So I think I'll keep an eye on the Shotcut website as well to see if they've got an update coming soon that mentions any kind of undo history bugs or speed ups in some way. So while we're waiting, is there anything you want to chat about? Anybody out there? Anything on your mind? And not about my green hair. Anything else? Okay, I'm going to close down and restart just in case that can help. We not using to home at the minute, so I'll close that as well. Just to clear up a little bit of memory. Let's reopen that. I have, yes, Just Burn, I have, and for me this worked better than those programs did. And ordinarily it doesn't go slow like this for me on a normal video edit. So let's see again how this goes after restarting. Oh yes, yeah, that was really useful, Tom. Thank you for doing that. You put a lot of work. I know you googled on some help for organising. What was it for? Creating a judging mechanism to work on the scores. That was really useful to see. Because, as I say, I think once I've submitted an entry, I'd like to check on the voting, see what other people have done, and that could be useful to do during a live stream, I think, to go through a similar sort of process. Not in the same way as Ferdinand did, where he's given his animator's head critique to suggest what people could do to make their animations better, but as an interested amateur that submitted an entry to say, you know, here's my entry, this is what I like about it, let's review everybody else's, see what I enjoyed, see where they've done something better, different to me, where can I learn from it, and while I'm there, give them a score, because we're all allowed to vote in it anyway. So having that kind of scoring mechanism, I think, would be really useful for me to have, so thank you from that. That's right, yeah, that was it, to convert from one scale to another. Golden Slime, hello, welcome to the stream. Yeah, Shotcut is really simple and not heavy, but today it's acting like it is heavy, and I think it's because I've got a long clip in here. Let me just cut it there and then show it all, and then we'll see how this goes. So hit save again, let's zoom in a little bit and then press play and figure out where to start this clip there. So now I can zoom in. You see, that's moving much better now. Now I've cut the clip shorter. So I need space for the zoom. So we can either click and drag, or you can enter the figures here. So if I go to 1400, and I can cut that, remove that, add back in the fade in video, adjust the opacity instead of black, and bring it down to 12 for a half-second fade in. It does, absolutely, Maria, it does. And I'd say I did enter the 11-second club competition quite a while back, like 18 months ago or something, quite a long time ago. And looking at other people's entries was really fascinating. Because for those that aren't aware, the 11-second club is a monthly competition where they supply an audio clip from a film, sometimes obscure film or TV programme, and your challenge is to animate 11 seconds of animation to that audio clip. And often the clips are from films that you don't recognise, so you don't necessarily have a picture in your mind of what the original looked like. So it's up to your imagination to place that audio clip in a situation. So by creating your animation based on how you picture the audio clip, and then you submit the challenge, and then you can take a look at all the other submissions to see what other people did, and you can vote on them, and you vote on a scale from 1 to 11. And by looking at other people's clips and to see what they've done differently is a great way to learn. Just watching the Animator Island stream the other day, I felt like I was learning a lot. He was suggesting things they could do. Things like, and it's things I've heard before, but again, it's nice to be reminded of to not have both arms moving at the same pace and the same, having them mirrored the same from each other. So if my left arm is here and my right arm is here, instead of that, lift one up a little bit, give it a bit of an angle, or move the arm out so it's not the same distance from the body. Things like that you might not necessarily consider. By watching the reviews from him, it made me think about that a little bit more. So if he does that again, I'll definitely be watching. And I think it's just something that if I went through the process to look at what other people had done, the choices they'd made, I think I'd learn from that as well as just giving my opinion about it. On the stream, us all having a chat about what's been done. So I think that could be quite a fun little exercise to do after I've completed an entry. Enio-san, hello, welcome. Good to have you popping in. Yeah, floaty and samey, yeah, exactly. Just seeing what people do. It's about the way they make their animations. It's about the choices they make. So people chose lots of different characters to represent the voices. So lots of strong burly men, some thin men looking a bit more menacing in some ways. Dragons appeared a few times. So yeah, the kind of choices you make, it's quite interesting to see, and just to again feed into that mental library of images and ideas for animations. Yes, absolutely, Kozo. Render out as an image sequence, a PNG image sequence would be ideal. Exactly, Maria. Nature doesn't build in straight lines. Alright, let's just click play on this and see where we are. So I've done my sketch, then I go through and do the inking. So this is where I want to do some editing to get the clips moving as quickly as possible without going backwards and forwards and erasing and that kind of thing. But yeah, if you on the clip, you'll see people using, let's say, older men, younger men, women, girls, babies even. So you could have a baby voicing or acting out the voice for your animation. Little chickens, whatever you like for your characters. I think seeing the animation choices for a clip that you've been working on, as I say, particularly if you're entering the competition, you've heard the clip so many times. So seeing other people's choices, I think is going to be really interesting. The beauty is in imperfections. I don't know, but I like it. Yeah, so let's see, where are we? Let me step through this, zoom in a little bit more. It'll be easier to work with. And now you see with a smaller clip, shorter clip, it's being more receptive to editing. Okay, so inking down one side, flip, and I come to ink down the other. So I'm going to use the cursor keys, the left-right cursor keys, to move one frame at a time. I'll then cut there because I started to draw and then I undid. Have a bit of a chit chat. And let's see where I start drawing again. So I'll play double speed. Oh, I was chatting about yes, the little animation character that Tony Gaddis used on one of his videos. Really fun little simple character to draw, and one that I may come back to later. Okay, so there we go. That's where we started to draw again. again using the cursor keys to step through, cut there, and I can delete that large chunk, and let's see how that looks. So flip, draw it on the other side. Right, finish it around the bottom. Okay. Okay, that's finished there. So let's see what else I do here. I think I go to the next frame, start inking that, and I go chit chat, chit chat, chit chat. And as I recall, I didn't actually draw the face in during the same stream. I go to the next frame. So let's see what time now. That's 15 seconds there. So coming to the very beginning. I think I'll add overlay text again as I did previously, saying sketch, ink, colour. Yeah, feel free, Enyu-san, if you want to put it in the chat here while you're all together, your suggestions about the camera, or go over to the Discord and add it onto there, whichever you think appropriate, but feel free to chat here if you want to. Ignore the zoom in and out, we'll fix that separately. So it's pencil, pencil, pencil. Ink around there. I think I'm going to leave that for the ink and then go straight onto the colour. So I'll add an extra block there and delete the rest of that. So this extra block can be used to fade out into the next clip of adding ink. So let's see where that is. So I'm going back to my recordings on disc. That's from the 13th of February. So in the following week was inking his face and paint. So let me open that up and again skip through this to find what we did. So we started off with the inked body, arms and legs, and then I drew his face. Okay, that's around 50 minutes, as Tom suggested. Let's see where the timing is first. So I'll close that, go to the playlist, and we'll add that in here. And what you can do, as I've done elsewhere before, is to edit the clip separately and then bring in the shorter clip to your main project for editing as a whole. You can actually edit the clip here before you add it to the timeline. I remember that you can, don't remember how. So if I double click that and press pause a second, I'll mute that so there's no sound comes through. I said it's about 50 minutes in. Trying to remember how you do it. I'm not sure, so let's just drag it in, the whole clip, onto the timeline, and we'll have that slowness again, no doubt. So again, it's going to go steady, so let's just bear with it. Have another bit of a cuppa. It's not too bad. We said about 50 minutes, so let's show everything to make it easier to see where we are. Let's see what time we're on now. So it is 5:30 UK time. I'm hoping to finish streaming by about 7, so another hour and a half, an hour and a half or so to finish. Okay, so about 50 minutes. If I click to there and then press split, I'll delete that first portion, again making it smaller to cope with. I think zooming in and out as well with shortcuts, I don't know about other programs, takes time, seems to almost buffer what you can see on screen, so as you zoom out it has to rebuffer the whole thing. I think that slows it down as well. So everything is kind of difficult to see, it's so small. If I skip through this just to check what we're doing, so we're drawing all of the ink there. Here's a little face. So I was hoping to do some paint this time. Yep, so I do some flat colours. So we'll cut before I do any colour. So yep, I can see it's on frame 1 and there's no colour, so I'll cut there. We'll keep that end section. Come back to the beginning. I'm going to cut here just to remove that middle section. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can actually work with this clip. Okay, zoom in a bit more. So we're drawing the outside ink line, and then the next clip, here we are. So I'll go gabba gabba gabba, and then we'll zoom in, as I saw a bit ago. If I skip forwards, yeah, I really like the idea of making a video about using shortcuts, some of its basic features. I've got to keep that in mind, I think, in the back of my mind as I'm working with it and deciding to use it for different projects, and think this could be the one to share the information. I think that'd be really useful. Okay, that's the second clip. I'm going to put that onto a separate line, onto a separate layer, because in this one we've not yet inked the face. So I'll hide that layer. And now it's showing only the bottom layer, not the top, and I'll extend that out to look at the hidden part of that video in there. So I've zoomed in at last, which is where I started drawing the face. So I cut that off too soon, but it's zoomed in there, so let me cut there and delete that section. And skip back. As I say, it's a long, slow process. It's not overly exciting, but it's something that I need to do to get this video out there. So let's extend that again. Here we are. Come on then. Oh, there we go, we started drawing at last. Okay, so split that there. Delete the first part. And then I can attach that to the end. Let's see how this looks here. Right, show that. So that's where we're inking the outside line, and then jump to the next clip where we start to ink the face. Good. So I'll split that there. I'll delete the first part, and then we'll drag this upwards. Remove that gap. make it a little bit longer. Let's check on the, hit save first, check on the properties, make sure I've really set up this to be fast play, so it should be 5 times to match. So let's just adjust that first as well. That clip will go really short then. It's around here, I'm guessing, about fifth of the length. There we go. Extend that out and let's see what's in that clip. Yeah, so if I do stream next Sunday, I won't be starting a new large project, so I need to have a think about what we can draw. So I've thought, as I said at the start of the stream, either work on some drawing exercises, so maybe practicing drawing character heads or something, or some animation exercises. So I've done a million bouncing balls. I've still got plenty more to learn and plenty more practice, but I'd like to do something more interesting. So maybe with the Tony Gaddis simple character, have him another walk cycle, or have him doing a sort of a jump or something, or a spin. So I need to have a think during the week what I might like to work on. If you have any thoughts you'd like to draw along with me, then drop me a message on Discord or in the chat now of what we can work on together next Sunday. If I do stream, I don't know what time I'll have spare next week. I may have time or I may not. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. So drawing the mouth. Again, I'll edit that. I'm not having repeated drawing on this kind of a video. So I'm using the cursor key to go left. Okay. Right, so the first part of the mouth there, and I can remove that block in the middle. I'll do some more talking before I continue, so let's go back to the end of the tooth. And then that's on frame 1, let me just see where that goes to. Right, and then before I draw the eye, I'll sort of zoom in a little bit. I'll do the eyebrows first. Okay, just kind of, I changed my mind a few times on where I was drawing. Some head turns, Cody Pop. Yes, I've done a couple of those. Nowhere near enough. I think literally a handful in total. So yeah, possibly. I mean, my actual drawings of heads aren't great anyway. So maybe I just start drawing on some heads and then, you say, head turns in some ways. Could be interesting. So yeah, I need some ideas, some thoughts of what we want to do next week. I'll chat about it on the Discord server, and as always I'll set up the stream on the Saturday if I'm going to stream, so you'll have 24 hours notice that we're going to do some drawing. So I'll make sure that we all know if we're going to be here or not. Okay, so I did do the eyebrows first. So I need to erase the parts where I tried to draw the eyes. Okay, so do a cut there. Let's remove that whole block then, see how that looks. I do have a couple of goes at the tooth. I don't want to edit this in minuscule format, but nor do I want it to be repetitive. So let's cut there. I'm quite happy on the streams on standard videos to have me erasing and showing me doing things more than once. But for this kind of video, we don't want that really. So we'll remove that little section, hit save all and play through that. So draw the mouth, tooth, eyebrows, eyebrows. Then I think about it for a second, again, remove that. So do a split there. There we go, go to start drawing the eyes, check we do. Right, so it's the second attempt that I want to include. So split there. After the first attempt, I can reduce, move that block. Because I was asking, what do I think about doing the animations on Sunday afternoons based on a script with several scenes? I'd like to do that at some point, yes. Too big a project right now, I think. Yeah, sure, Enyo-san. Catch you later. Speak to you on the Discord later. I'd like to work on a few more small animations first. This has kind of been my plan for this year. So 2022 is for me to work on some of my drawing skills, my animation skills for timing and presentation, to push my exaggeration skills, something I've worked on for the past couple of animations, thanks to Alon Dan, and suggestions from you, Tom and Maria, have been really useful to push what I'm doing for the animation, to try and get that kind of visual knowledge in my brain library to recognise where to best do squash and stretch and that kind of thing. And these little animations are really useful for that. But then I'd like to come back to work on a bit more of a detailed story with a script. It's not going to be, you know, an hour and a half film, but it can be 60 seconds or something, just to give me a bit of a film with a couple of scenes, a story with a couple of scenes to work on. I'd definitely like to do that on a Sunday. And some of you may know and are involved with the collaboration group in the Discord server that's working on smaller films, 15 to 30 seconds I think they're going to be. So I'm kind of involved in that in a very small way, so it'd be interesting to see how that goes as well. That'll be useful for me personally to see how it works, as well as joining in with the group. But yeah, I would like to, on these Sundays, work on a project with multiple scenes from start to finish. So you'll see me doing storyboarding, working through the script, then the sketching out, the working on the backgrounds. So that'll be over a number of months, I expect, especially the way I talk on these streams. I don't always get so much work done as I'm demonstrating right now. So I'd like to do that, definitely. So keep your eyes open. It's definitely on the horizon. So as much as I'd like to skip past these small edits I'm doing now, just to make it more interesting for you, it is just a case of I'm going to have to get this done at some point, so why not let you see the process? So let's continue for these. As I say, I know it's not interesting necessarily, but it's just necessary for getting this video completed. Yeah, I've had a few ideas, Kozo, for videos and animations and things. Silly, short ideas as well as longer, long-form ideas. So I need to work out which ones are best for people to see, for me to work on. I think for the inking, that's going to be fine as I've got so far. So let me just finish off the eye. I'll do some zooming out and zooming back in again. So I might cheat and cut out some of that in the middle there. Yeah. So before I zoom out, cut, And then I'll add some colour. And then we'll go straight to the animation, I think, will be the end part. Oh, good penguin! Hello, it's the penguin! Good to have you back. Welcome back to the stream. How are you doing today? All is well with me. I'm working on a little bit of a dual project to watch. Just some editing of my previous streams to try and get a YouTube short built. And it may be that I finish this off next Sunday, or I might find time during the week. We'll see. Let's remove that gap, because at the far right I had the clip of where I start adding colour. So again, let's change the properties to be 5 times speed, so it matches with the rest. Okay, so this section, I remember I was colouring in and I was talking about changing the colour after the fact. So I changed it to a black colour just to show how you can do that. I was trying to find the right colour. Just taking a look through this to remind myself what I did to see if I can actually use this or not. So yeah, so I put the base colour for each of the frames down using the frame range option. And you can see here each of the frames is coloured in with that same brown colour, and then I changed the colour of the eyes. Right. No problem, Kozo. Catch you next week, hopefully. See you soon. Have a great day. So that's back on frame 1. So let's see where we add the colour for the eyes. I'll split it there. Going back to the beginning. Let's see where we're changing the colour. I did some zooming in first. Split that and remove that, and let's try and put these together and see what we can get. So there's the inking first. Okay, so let's move this to the other layer and then we'll fade in to the colouring section. So we do a fade out on the layer above, so add a filter of fade out video, tick the box to adjust the opacity, bring the timing down to ½ a second, that's 12 frames, and then we can reduce this down here so it fades out quicker. So let's see, we've got the ink drawing, then we fade out to the colour, and let's find where we want to see the change. On the bottom layer, let's delete the first part here. So we see some colour changes as I'm setting that up. Stop there. Double check. I've got to add a cut for colouring the eyes. Yes, that's the top one. So hit save before I do anything. Hewley Check, hello there. From your holiday in the mountains. Well, thank you for joining us from your holiday. How are the mountains? Nice and high? How are you doing? Are you doing some hiking? What's happening with you recently? So I'm going to remove that gap. Go back to the left here, remove that clip of video, so going from the colour change to adding the colour for the eyes. So we'll add those, let me trim that out, and I'm already at 30 seconds, which is quite long, so I need to trim this down even more, but let's get the basics in there first. Okay, that'll do for the character. And I'm going to remove the rest of that. Hit save. And again, we'll just put all the clips in first, and then we can always tweak them, throw them out as necessary later. So let's see, and then it's down to last week's, where we drew the background and added the effects. So again, let's double click on that, have a look at it in the video player to try and find the piece we want. So that's where I drew the background. I changed my mind about some of it and drew these. I'm not sure how much of that I want to include. So yeah, that's an hour and 12. Also had the sky I put in first. So that gives me an idea. So I've already saved, so if things go wrong, I've got the version at this stage. Let's drop in that stream clip. I'll add that on the second layer so I can fade into it. Oh, cross-country skiing, awesome. Oh, I've never been skiing at all, any kind of skiing. I'd love to try it. I think I'd be pretty bad at it at first, but I think I'll do okay. I'll pick it up in the end. I've got pretty reasonable balance. Okay, so this is going slow again. It's having a good long think about it. So it's 6 o'clock. I'm keeping a close eye on the time because I'm meeting up with Mrs. T later, who's nipped out to watch some football this afternoon. So I'm going to see her after the game and meet up with her. So I'd like to find a nice point to end here. So while this is thinking about it in shortcut, let me nip off, take a quick break, stretch my legs, get a fresh drink, and then come back here in 5 minutes and we'll work on the last section. So I'll see you back here in about 5 minutes. And welcome back. So shortcut is still being slow for me, so I'm going to stick with it for a few minutes, see what it can do. It came back a second ago and I clicked elsewhere, now it's thinking again. If it keeps on going too slow, I'm going to have to end the stream, I think, early, and then continue this off stream during the week perhaps, and work on some more, and maybe show you where we got up to during the next stream. So I just wanted to get this long clip. Again, I'll change the speed to be 5 times speed. I will just cut out some parts we definitely don't need, try and trim down to some parts we do need, and that will kind of be enough for the stream parts of this video. And then it's down to me to add in a couple of text overlays to mention each section, so the sketching, ink, paint, backgrounds, and then the final animation at the end, and then a bit of tightening up of the timing of each of the clips, possibly cutting out some extra pieces to make the pace move a bit better, and then add some music. So there's a bit of a process still to go through, most of which I could have got through today if the video editing would have gone quicker. And as I say, I could have edited the clips beforehand, but I've had such a busy week I didn't really have time. I was too busy trying to make my hair go green this week. Yeah, it's really struggling with this one. And ordinarily, without having a stream in front of you when you're doing this, it probably wouldn't be an issue. It'd be a bit annoying, but you just wait. But obviously for a stream, not very interesting. Just to watch my pointer spinning around there. Exactly, Tom. St. Patrick's Day. To be sure, to be sure. I may well be Irish next weekend as well when you see me. That's really green, isn't it? Yeah, I need to look into doing something for that. The more I look at it, the greener it gets. Oh well. Oh, come on, shortcut. Task managers, I've got that opening over here. Let me show you that actually, just out of interest. There you go. At the top here, only 40% CPU, 24% memory. I purposely got my new computer with extra memory. It's on 64 gigs of memory. So I don't know why it's struggling to keep going. It's one of these things that you sometimes get with the computers, I guess. I don't think so, Amar. No Sifter. Hello Sifter, by the way. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you here. No, it's just a green screen reflection. I mean, I've got a bit of space behind me. If I reach round, you actually can't see there. The green screen is kind of an arm's length away from where I'm sitting, but the reflection, you can see on my arm how it reflects at the back. It's really so reflective. Ideally, I'd be further away if I had more space. So as I say, next weekend I might run the stream without a green screen, so you see the plain wall behind me. I'm gonna have to just keep an eye on what I'm covering up on the programs. You have to let me know if I'm covering up like the timeline or X sheet or anything behind me. So I might try that next week and see what it does. Why so serious? Yeah. Not seen the new Joker. I've heard that's a really good film, different from sort of the Batman series of films, but I've heard it's a really good film to watch, which I've still not had a chance to see yet. Come on, shortcut, I don't think it's going to work. Me either, Sifter. It's really quite strong. I don't know if because my lights are too bright or what it is. I'll have a play and work it out. Right, this isn't working, so I'm going to kill the program, I think. If you remember, I did hit save before trying to add this next video clip, and Shortcut's pretty good at saving a backup if things go wrong sometimes. So let's open it up again fresh. There you go. Auto save file exists. Yes, let's try and recover them. It seems to do a sort of a save of your project every 20 seconds or something. It's pretty good for that. Properties tab, and I want to change the timing of that clip. Let's see how long this takes. Well, actually, Tom, yeah, I get your sort of question there. I painted the room with white walls, but the white walls are covered up most of the time. I've got curtains around the room to dampen the sound a little bit, to bring down the echoing noise, so they're not reflecting the light around. Yeah, it's quite interesting as to what this issue is. Maybe it would just be the lights in some way, but as I say, it's not a biggie. Yeah, I've got a blue, it's actually a blue curtain directly in front of me to dampen the sound. And hopefully it should have stopped the reflection, but we've still got some of that green there. Something I've played with quite a while to try and get right in the room. And obviously for the streams, still not got it quite right yet. I did, yes, that was with a different kind of light to the ones I'm using now. And then for the past few weeks with this light, it's been pretty good. So it's yeah, it's definitely something else. Come on, Shortcut. You've got a few minutes to sort yourself out, and then we're going to leave it, I think, for today. So what I might do, I think during the week, if I edit my clips down, so it gets rid of this timing issue, it may be the next Sunday. We've decided now what we're going to work on, and that's finishing off this video once the clips are trimmed. So it'll be adding the text, trimming the timing a little bit more, will be quicker and easier, adding the music, and then pulling it together. So maybe that's next week's stream settled. It's good question, Amar. It's a bulb in a soft box, so it's got soft coverings over the front of the boxes. Yeah, so the light is very much a white light through the softbox. Gives you a nice soft kind of white light that comes out of them. It's bright enough to light me. I don't think it's bright enough to light through to the back wall, but I think just maybe the green material I've got could be very reflective. Come on, Shotcut, you're almost there. From the earlier clips, once we changed the speed to 5 times and showed the full timeline, it was then easier to edit. So I was hoping to edit that part before we ended today. Kapil, hello, welcome to the stream. Yeah, Shotcut, I really like this program. It's struggling today with the larger files, and possibly the latest release that I downloaded a week or two ago could be the issue, but it's really struggling today, so it's not a great advert for the program, unfortunately. But it's a pretty good program overall. But while I'm working with these longer clips, I'm bringing in video clips from previous streams, which have been 2, 3, 4 hours long. So the clip length, I think, is making a big difference. Once I've trimmed down to the main part I want, it's moving much smoother. I have, Tom. I've tried that one light. Doesn't quite give the bright enough light, but it's something to play with before next week if I can. As I say, I might just use it without having the green screen at all next week, just to get it running with a nice colouring. I would tell you, Tom, but I can't check on that. There we go. Let's have a look about Shotcut. Oh, it uses a QT as well, quite interesting. Same as OpenToonz and Tahoma does. So you're using version 21.10.31. Oh, 31st of October last year. Let's see how long it takes to show the about box. I may have just destroyed it by showing that. If indeed it does show. Oh, no problem, KRB, yeah, Kapil. So two different accounts. This is really struggling. So the animation software I use is either OpenToonz or Tahoma 2D. As you can kind of see up there in the middle of the screen on the clip. Great animation software, both downloadable for free to use for any purpose, commercial or just personal fun. I don't know if you've seen much of my channel, but I teach how to use OpenToonz and Tahoma here on my YouTube channel. Lots of videos on there, including some getting started guides to get you started from the very beginning of downloading it, as well as some more detailed guides in there. And I've been working for the past 6 or so weeks on a small animation, a very small animation of a little monster jumping. And I'll show you that in a second. I'm about to close Shotcut, I think, because it's just struggling today. I'll work on this during the week and come back, I think, next weekend. But I created the animation in Tahoma, and then the idea today was to edit some of the parts of the stream together along with the final animation to create a YouTube short to share as a video, single video showing the process and the animation. but Shotcut's struggling a little bit today with the length of these clips. Yeah, there is layer blending, Tom, in Shotcut. I think it's called blend, I believe. I can't show you because Shotcut doesn't seem to want to work at the minute. So I'm going to kill this now. This isn't working. I'm going to destroy the program, close it, get rid of it entirely. There we go. So if I open Shotcut up here, so I can show you the version I'm using as we were talking about. Here we go. Oh, that's better. Yeah, 211031. But I have installed it this year, so it's kind of a sub version. It's not showing the full version number in here of when I installed it. So that's a shame. Critter is very good. I use it all the time. It's a great little program. I use it especially for my thumbnails for the videos. Actually, if I go to this one here, I can show you the animation. So this is the animation that I made into Homer, and I've made it all during these live streams over the past 6 weeks or so, starting with sketching out the basic idea, working out the timing, adding some colour and effects and the background into it. So I just want to put this together into a short to share on the site at some point. Really enjoyed it, great program. So if you've not tried it before, if you use Critter, it's a different kind of a process for the animation compared to how Critter works for the animation frames and frame reuse and a few other things. It's more traditional based, if you know the old cell style painting for animations. Great program to learn and to work with. So if you've not tried it yet, give it a go and see what you think to it. I've not actually tried animating with Critter yet. I know people that do, but for me it doesn't quite work in the same way as I'd hope it would. It doesn't grab me to try and use it, and the way OpenToonz and Homer both work, they just work more naturally for me. I feel more comfortable in them, so that's what I stick with. Yeah, I'm just wrapping up now, Amar. So if you want to go live on the Discord in a few minutes, then feel free. That could be useful. Oh, before I do, good points. Thank you, Tom. Let me open Shotcut here. If I come to the filters, I can't add one yet. So let me quickly show you a filter. So put in that clip, and on top of that, that image. So if I add that video file first, add another video track, zoom that in so you can see it, and put the image on the top track here. So they're now overlaid on top of each other. So if I zoom in and go to the bottom, so you can see exactly where they're overlaid with the text, selecting on the picture, so the top layer here, and then go to filters. It's called blend mode in here. So if I go to video, there it is, blend mode. So if you add that, and then you can choose the blend mode to use for each layer. So multiply, saturated, screen, etc. So there's the screen version, and the black disappears. Overlay, just to apply some colour onto the background colour. I'm sure you know what all these mean without me actually talking about them. So yeah, blend mode, really useful. I use that, and I was hoping to use it today during the stream for adding text in Shotcut. So the idea, I was going to add another video track at the top here, and then I've got a picture of a plain black or white background. So if I use black first, let's open my playlist and drop that on. I was hoping to get to this earlier, and if I put black there, so that covers the screen, and then to that that clip, that picture, I was going to add some plain text. using the text simple filter. So I can say for the sketch mode, and then add a filter on the black with the blend mode, and then one of the blend modes, I always forget which one. Is it screen again, did we just say? So that makes the black disappear so I can just see the text. So it's a good way to get text on screen. So I was going to put that in at the top corner, and then over the different stages I was going to say sketch, ink, paint, that kind of thing. So it's a great way to use that effect. I've never tried AMAR to do any kind of animating in Krita at all. As I say, drawing in it, yeah, I use it all the time. But I really don't feel the need to with OpenToonz and Tahoma the way they work. I'm very happy with them. Oh, I see. Yes, I see, Tom. No problem. At least you found it now. But yeah, the blend mode. There's so many effects in here that I've never used. Every now and again, I choose the video option and I go down the list and I try and select a few effects to mess with them, to understand what they are, so as to know what it can do. Because it can really do so many things. And I've tried to use them as much as I can, but I would suspect that in total, I've probably used fewer than a dozen, so 10 or so effects out of all these. In all the videos I've done, I use the same ones over and over again, which is why I've got my favourite set up. Really useful. KRB Code, you wanted advice in effects, as magical based animation is hard. So I guess you're talking about sparkles and flashes coming out, that sort of magical effect. So people are say a simple magic wand, or using the hands to create like a ball of fire to throw at a bad guy or what have you. Yeah, you can build those in Krita if you want to, but also OpenToonz and Tahoma has kind of glow style effects, which are really useful. If you get time, Tom, it's worth having a look around all of the different options in here to see what you can do. And I think from speaking with you on Discord, I think you're the kind of guy that does do that now and again to understand what each of them are. But for instance, for blurring, I've used the blur effect, but not the exponential, Gaussian, low pass or pad. I haven't even touched them to see what the difference is, but it works for me. Chroma key, I've used that of course. Colour grading I've not really used, I don't need to, because mostly I've got screen recordings, so it's not real life recordings that need editing, and a few of the others. Pretty much, Sifter. But the effects, it's worth knowing, the effects work on a single clip, not on a layer. So not for everything on the layer, which is different to OpenToonz, which works on the entire layer. So for instance, if you've got a clip here, I've got my black screen. If I add another clip to the right on the same layer, just here, that effect won't work for that clip. So let's take this block here. I'll press Ctrl-C to copy it. Move along, press Ctrl-V. Let's remove that gap. So I've got some text here saying sketch. And on the second one, I've copied it, so I've got the same effect, but I could change that text now to say ink. So that when you play from here to the second clip, it changes from saying sketch to ink. And the blend mode I turned off there accidentally. There we are. So you can see you have to have the playhead placed over the effect to see it properly. So I hit play on that. You see sketch at the top, and that'll change to ink. So yeah, really good, really easy to use, and yeah, I think I will create some sort of tutorial to show how I use it, especially for how you can use it for your animations. It could be, well, colour grading can be useful, probably not for this project, I'd think, because each of the scenes should have already be created with the same colours, so you shouldn't need to change them. It depends when we get to later on in the project, if we use the effects in OpenToons to add kind of the nightclub flashing lights or not, or if you want to come into Shotcut later and bring down the brightness of the background or the characters to look better as though they're in the nightclub. I don't know quite how we're going to do that stage yet. I've not had a chat about it or seen chats about it. My view was for, again, if I was doing the painting, if I do that section, I'd be using OpenToons so we can edit the colours afterwards, and I'd expect to be using OpenToons for the backgrounds and adding effects on top, but we'll see. It really can, yeah. Again, this is part of the learning curve for working with this project. Exactly, post-render fix-up. So we might decide to render out image sequences or WebM files separately for the background as the characters and assemble them in Shotcut. For me, that seems like an extra step you don't need to do. You could just put the background into OpenToons and just render the whole thing. But it depends quite how it all comes together and who's doing the editing towards the end. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. We've gone through a few things in Shotcut. We've all been annoyed by the pacing of it today for editing streams. So I'll have to do something on that during the week to cut down those clips so I can finish editing it next week. So I think I'll be doing that next Sunday. So thanks everyone for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's stream. It's been an interesting one for me. It's gone both better than I expected and worse than I expected at the same time. So I've got through a bit of editing for this video, not quite as much as I really hoped I could have done, but I think it's been quite an interesting day all in all. It's certainly got me started. And don't forget, as I've said before, this stream will be on YouTube later, so you can catch up with any parts that you missed to see what I did earlier in the stream. And don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that bell to be notified when I do stream next, which hopefully is next Sunday, but it could be a week or two later, so keep your eyes open for that. So, and remember, so if I'm not here next week or the week after, I do shout about the streams over on my Discord and on Twitter to let people know when they're due to start. I try to let people know on the Saturday, so you've got plenty of time to find me streaming. Thank you, KRB, I appreciate that. Cheers, Awkward Penguin, you too, have a great day. So don't forget to hit the like button and comment on the stream on YouTube when it's over, and check out the links in the description for the different ways to support the channel. And to get great content in return, check out the Patreon account. I've changed the rewards there and the pricing structure, so perhaps take a look at that, see if it's something that you're interested in. And for everyone else, I'll be over on Discord in a few minutes, so join me there for a chat. And I'll see you next week for another stream, for more news, animation and chat. And that's a Darren Tea. Have you always wanted to animate but didn't know how to start, and software seemed expensive and difficult to use? Well, with OpenToons, it's free, powerful, and once you know how, it's easy to use. And it's my mission to get you animating with it today. Hi, my name's Darren, and I've been teaching OpenToons for the past 3 years, showing thousands of students just like you how easy it is to animate with. I'm cutting through the jargon to show that anyone can animate with it. And by the end of the course, you'll be able to animate traditionally using OpenToons. And the course is designed for students brand new to OpenToons, as well as those new to animation. So take a look at the free lessons I've offered below, and then why not sign up and join me animating traditionally with OpenToons.